All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Mega ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 92. And before I get a little bit ahead of myself here today, you might be noticing here on the couch, especially if you're all are watching this mess on YouTube versus my audio side of things though. But it's me and Steven, the usual host and co-host though. But I do have a guest on tonight, and his name is Kyle. How's it going, Kyle?
How's it going, everyone? Good to be here.
Now he's one of my good old buddies. I know him off of Discord along with a group of people though, and I just told him, I said one of these days I was like, hey, do you want to pop in on the show? And he was like, fine, I'll go ahead and do it. He wanted to be on the last episode we did for the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations and stuff. Unfortunately, the schedules didn't happen to line up though, but he said he still wanted to come on and be a part of the show at least in this episode right here though. So I was willing to bring him back though. And Steven, how's it going, man?
Going good. Still in the process of moving, but I'm almost done. I had a icky situation yesterday, which I don't know if you were there for, where I built my entertainment center and finally put my TV on it, and the TV cracked.
That is
And
crazy, Steven. The fact that you said your TV cracked while you were setting that mess up, and you are sure that that did not happen on the move.
yeah, I'm sure. Well, I don't know if it happened when they were transporting the TV, but I know I was delicate with it.
Hmm.
So it must have happened before it was given to me. It's just annoying. But they gave us a one-time complimentary exchange for a new one. So
I,
thank God.
I was about to say because man, oh man, I was probably looking over here at Kyle and stuff, and like, man, if that was either one of us, we would be taking that mess straight back to Best Buy. Ain't that right, Kyle?
I would be livid, man. So
Oh, my dad.
you didn't have to come up with anything up front?
No, my dad did not get a warranty because they were like, "Oh, we check the TVs before we give them to you, so it obviously had to be something that happened after you left the store." I'm like, "Fucking fine."
God.
Oh goodness. Alrighty.
And yeah, it was annoying, but the guy was nice and gave us a new TV, and this one works.
That's good.
But that's really the only interesting thing that happened.
All right. Well, at least that's up and going for you. And I've been messing with some stuff on the technology side as well, but thankfully it didn't go bad like you. Like my Asus ROG Ally and stuff, like my portable PC, Steven.
Uh-huh.
I just upgraded that thing from the 500 gigabyte one that actually comes with it. And like right before the show, I managed to get the stuff switched around. So now I got a 2 terabyte thing up in this thing.
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh, good gracious!" I was like, "Man," with a lot of games requiring SSDs nowadays, though, I'm like, "Man," I was like, "I just need to go ahead and upgrade this thing because 500 gigs is not a lot, especially when I look at my PS5 and I already stuck a 2 terabyte thing up in that, and what the storage on that naturally comes with 800 gigs." So I was like, "Yeah, it was time to upgrade this mess, though." I got concerned when I hit that power button and it wasn't coming on at first, though, but shoot, man, I'm glad that mess all worked out though, but in terms of the topics we had to go through and discuss through tonight, obviously we got to talk about some Switch 2 related stuff. Yes, it's not coming out this year, but we did get a confirmation that it's backwards compatible. So I imagine all of us here on the panel got something to say about that. Mario and Luigi Brothership and Dragon Quest 3 HD2D also came out within the past couple of weeks. So we got to talk about both of those. We had a Nintendo Direct, but it ain't a Nintendo Direct everybody wants to hear about. But it's about the DK land stuff. So we got to talk about that. Oh shoot, we got to talk about this Mike Tyson fight as well. And then I got a plethora of other little topics we'll talk about here and there. Though a little bit of something to talk about with Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo. Surprisingly, it's usually mostly Nintendo or PlayStation, but Xbox they've been doing some weird stuff over here. And I was like, okay, we got to sit down and talk about this thing though. So that's the gist in terms of the major plot points for tonight. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up. Gosh, stinking dang it. Okay, I was going to do my little transition thing. I do not know if this thing is going to work. I'm going to try to fire it up though, because gosh dang it, I forgot to stinking load up my little stream deck thing with like my little transitions and stuff. And it usually, man, I was trying to stall for time, and this thing is not gonna This thing is not having it with me. All right, hold on. Maybe I can salvage this right here. So we're gonna rewind this back. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment. Dang it, it did not do it. All right, imagine it did that. Kyle, it doesn't usually be running like this. I usually be doing all my checks and stuff. I was trying to make sure I was trying to make sure you got all in line though, but act like the swoosh was there. All right. Anyway, though,
For sure.
we got to talk about this Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight because everybody and their stinking mama wanted to tune into this thing on Netflix, Steven. And there was times, both of y'all were in the call and stuff, and you knew I was gonna watch this mess. It's freaking Mike Tyson, man. Like the dude ain't called Iron
Yeah.
Mike for nothing, though. So I ain't one of those Netflix people. Like Kyle, do you be watching a lot of Netflix?
Only the really big shows like Cobra Kai, and then I unsubscribe.
Okay, so I think we're kind of all in the same boat. We do it to an extent, but never too much to the point where it outstays its welcome.
The
Well,
moment the moment where my family stopped buying it and I couldn't use it for free, I was done.
yeah. So my family they have Netflix, and you know how most streaming services things go. You usually just kind of share it between y'all each other, so you wind up saving quite a bit though. So yeah, so I had Netflix loaded up on my PS5, and I was trying to watch the fight and stuff, and it was doing okay for the most part until right before Mike was about to brawl off against Jake, and that's when Netflix started or spazzing out. It started buffering. And literally, you can go on Twitter, and everybody and their stinking mama was like, Netflix, y'all need to fix y'all servers. This is absolutely outrageous. And I think they said when it was all said and done, it was like 60 million people or 60 million households. You probably have more people watching it in individual households. Were trying to tune in and watch this fight. And I was like, oh, shoot. Netflix could not hold this thing up at all. Like, Steven, did you see this whole mess go down?
I seen a lot of people outraged. A lot of people hashtag cancel Netflix was trending, at least on Twitter.
Oh
Wow.
man, they need to go ahead and do that, man. So I'm stinking tired of Netflix at this point, though.
I just don't understand live streaming it on Netflix. That's a interesting move, honestly.
Yeah, and then Kyle, you heard about all them buzz and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge into it like 95% of the world, but I did hear about it.
I just
Man,
wanted to see Jake Paul get beat up,
I
honestly.
honestly wanted to see that too, Steven, because literally this Jake Paul was talking a lot of smack. Like,
That's what
oh,
he
I
does.
could beat Mike Tyson. I could beat anybody. You know good and well if this was Mike Tyson in his prime, like during like the early 2090s, heck no, this man didn't stand a chance, man.
Didn't
They
he
don't call
bite?
him Iron
Did,
Mike for nothing.
didn't he bite someone's ear off?
Yes, and that
Oh
got him
God.
that got him banned from like doing any official fights for a period of time. Like you don't want to tick this man off. Like he was savage back in the day.
So Mike Tyson won then.
You would think,
No.
Kyle, you would think, but he didn't. They gave the win to Jake Paul. Now, neither one of them knocked out the other. And I think Jake Paul was like, hey, I just wanted the glory or the satisfaction. This is going to
The
bring in a lot of
glory.
viewers and stuff. And he wanted to have the honor of fighting against one of the best, but he wasn't going to put this dude down because think about it, Kyle. This dude was 58 years. I'm talking about Mike. Is 58 years old,
I
and
seen
he was
people trying to
boxing like
argue.
this.
I seen people trying to argue that this was elderly abuse.
I mean,
It's not.
technically
He
not wrong,
consented. No,
but
he
at the same time, I
consented.
feel like Nike, if it weren't Jake Paul, if this was anybody else, Mike Tyson probably would knock out anybody else that would have stepped up in that ring. Shoot, even if you were like 30 something years old, you'd probably still get knocked out. But a lot of people were saying this was like rigged and stuff. I see Mario in the chat. That's basically what he was kind of saying as well, though. Which honestly, I wouldn't put it past him. Like no one was really gonna get hurt in this fight to the level degree. Like, did you see the fight that happened right before this, where it was like the two women boxers facing off against each other?
People were saying robbed. I just know that much. People, like a lot of people were mad about whatever happened in that fight.
Yeah, because I mean, even in that women's fight before it, shoot. one of the ladies got like gashed near like the top of her left or right eye. I don't know though, but that was like a more real fight than obviously this one. And even when I can't even remember the dudes' names that fought before that and like one of the other pre bouts or whatever though. But it was like one dude versus another dude. And even that one felt a little bit more real. So we kind of knew what the outcome of this one was going to be. But then a lot of people were looking back at like, I guess 5 year old footage of Mike Tyson training and stuff. And he's like, wait a minute, this fight was probably rigged. I will go and throw this out there in the realm. If Mike Tyson were to challenge Jake Paul 5 years ago, yeah, not even 5 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago, I think he would have knocked that man out. It wasn't until like you remember that Steven where he had that I guess hospital accident or something like that, or something where he was like in a wheelchair. I know you probably saw that image somewhere because remember this fight was supposed to happen during the summer and they
Think
delayed it.
so. I
Yeah.
think so. It's yeah, in June, I think. Even he said he like almost died.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, you know what? That's a win if you can't get Jake Paul, somebody that's like what, 28-year-old, 28-year-old Kyle, and if he can't knock you out, I still say that's a testament to how strong you are. Because I mean, not a lot of 58-year-old people, almost 60-year-old men could do essentially what Mike was doing. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So honestly, it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I really like boxing a lot more so than wrestling. You're not a wrestling fan, are you, Kyle?
Nah, not really. I'm not into sports.
Okay, okay. No, because some people like wrestling from like back in the 80s or whatever. That mess is fake. But boxing is always real. Even if someone throws a fight, someone's still getting beat up. So
Well, yeah,
that's the reason why I like boxing a lot more than wrestling and stuff. That even
because
goes into shows and stuff as
because
well.
boxing is an actual sport.
Yeah.
Like wrestling's not a sport. Wrestling is entertainment.
Yeah, unless it's sumo wrestling, that's a whole nother breed. I'll consider that real. If you ever seen some matches like that, that mess is real. But
Well, yeah,
the American wrestling, nah, I just don't vibe with that mess.
American wrestling's fun and all, but like it's not real.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, I just want to give my little 2 cents on it. I also gave my little bit of a review on Twitter as well, so you can kind of check that out there though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it. In terms of that pop culture segment thing, it's probably one of the biggest things we could have talked about, and it's literally the only thing pop culture segment related that I had up here on the list though. So we might as well go ahead and slide on over into the next topic, that being what's in the gaming news. Alrighty, so we got to talk about Hogwarts Legacy because hold up, but before I even get into this, Kyle, you know about Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know if I figured you as like a Harry Potter fan, but have you
I'm
at
a
least heard
huge
about it?
Harry Potter fan.
Oh shoot, wait, hold on. So have you played this game before? Because I know Steven has it.
Yes, I have not 100%ed it, but I want to say I played through the whole thing. There might be an epilogue that I missed out on, but I got through the gist of it. It's pretty good.
Okay, yeah. So we got some good news, Kyle. They did confirm that they're going to give us a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy, and I think in terms of what they kind of reported, they said it's going to be somewhat in line with this new TV show thing that they're going to be doing. Oh, good gracious. Yeah, they're going to try to line it up with the TV show that they have in line, though. But
Okay. Whoa.
the fact that we are getting a sequel is pretty big because I say, what is it? That game came out not this year, but last year. Like, what was it, around February or so? That was like one of my honorable mentions for game of the year of that year. I love the heck out of that mess, and it was better, Kyle. And I think you might agree with me in terms of the fact that this game was better story wise than like some of the most recent, what do they call it? Fantastic Beast movies. Did you feel the same on that?
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic Beasts, I really only enjoyed the first movie, and even that's kind of giving it a little bit too much credit. Like, honestly, none of them compare to the Harry Potter films. This game, I would say is on the same level as almost like a Harry Potter movie. Like it got dark. It was like, oh shit, the killing curse was used on that guy's uncle. Like it was like, what the hell? Like it some shit goes down. So before I picked up the game, I actually got it on sale for like $30 because I didn't have any faith in it. The early reviews that I was seeing, it looked like it was just a hot mess. And I was like, I'll get it when it's on sale. And now it's like I feel like I missed out. I should have gotten it when it was new. It was like, not that I don't appreciate a good deal, but man, was better than I expected. I enjoyed it.
Man, yeah, I guess our thoughts are lining exactly the same though, because I felt like we had some Harry Potter games back in the day. Maybe there was some stuff that came out like on the PS2 or something. I feel like there were some older Harry Potter games and they were okay from what I heard. But this one just felt like you were just in the world of it though. So and
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remember the studio that made this game, but I can't. It's slipping my mind right now. But whatever studio made this, as long as they're making this sequel, I'm gonna be all down for it because I know they're gonna do a great job with this mess.
So I'm wondering, is it going to be a sequel, like story wise, or because I heard you mention something about the new show. They are doing a new show on HBO, and it's going to feature each season is going to be a book. I want to say, like they're going to do all the movies, but they're going to be more like the books. So you know how like I don't know. Are you a big Harry Potter fan?
Oh yeah, no, I like all the movies. I tried reading some of them books, but them books are thick, man. I'm telling you, thick with three C's. And I remember
They
when Deathly Hollows came out, and I was trying to go
Stick
through and
with three C's.
read that because of the part one, part twos. But oh shoot, what were you saying, Steven?
I was saying stick with three C's. The
Yes.
book.
Have you seen the Deathly Hallows book, man? You can knock
Well, I know
somebody
they
clean out with that sucker in the library. I'm just saying.
I know they split it into two movies. I don't know a lot about Harry Potter, by the way.
no, no,
But like,
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Do you know which one that one is though, Steven? Like I know you're not a huge Harry Potter fan, but like you know about that one, right?
not really, I don't know. I just know there's like that one scene where he's like, "Did you touch the goblet of fire?"
Okay, all right. Well, that's fair.
Literally
So
the only thing I
basically,
know.
the Goblet of Fire is basically the halfway point of the entire series, and that was actually supposed to have two films initially. It was going to be a two-parter. I don't know why they didn't do it, but that movie had so much stuff missing that was from the book. So, Zard, I would encourage you to read the books because there is so much stuff that the movies lack that the books have. And it's not just like, oh, they changed this. No, it's like straight up they didn't put that in. Why not? Like it's like when they do this HBO series, they're going to put so much stuff in the episodes that's just going to make everything tie it together. And if they make the games off the show, oh man, that could be something special. The
Yeah,
only thing
and I
I'm worried about is casting.
yeah. Oh yeah, ooh, that's a whole nother thing, casting. Yeah, I managed to pull up the tweet and it basically said the game is coordinating the storylines with the upcoming Harry Potter HBO series. So
Oh
basically
my
it might
god.
it'll either be like right in line with it or could be in between certain stuff. We'll see the way how they play it out, but basically it's like you can watch the show and then play the game version of it essentially though. And yeah, I don't put it past you in terms of like what they skipped out on the Goblet of Fire, kind of like with any adaptation, anime adaptations from manga to stuff over there or anything that's like based upon like a real life experience to the movie. Stuff is always going to get cut. So it's not always going to be a
Oh,
perfect one to one, hence the reason you got to go through and read or watch the original source material though, but I kind of expected that, out of the Harry Potter series. That the books are thick.
oh yeah. Can't put it all in one movie, right? Even if you make those movies 2.5 hours long, it's packed. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
With a show though, oh man, you can. I mean, think about it. Like Breaking Bad, for example, that's like 5 seasons long, 8 episodes each season. You do something like that, you can put whatever you want in the show. You can do the entire book and then some.
Yeah, but that probably means padding, right? Like, or is there a lot in the books that's not shown in the movies?
A lot that's not shown in the movies. Like So much, in fact, that's why the fourth movie, Goblet of Fire, was initially going to be a two-parter. They made it work without it, but it was supposed to be a lot longer. And that goes for all of them. Like,
Well, yeah, you could make that. You could make that last two movies into one final season. I'd assume.
they've got like 40 minutes of deleted scenes across all 8 of the films. I might be embellishing a bit there. Let's just say 20 minutes. They got like 20 minutes per movie of deleted scenes. And I mean, I know it's not a ton, but it adds up. There's 8 movies. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on Harry Potter. I could talk all day about Harry Potter, man.
I figured as much though, because I was looking through my list of topics. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna let him spill for a little bit. I mean, he is the guest. I'll let him talk when he can talk though. But yeah, I'm
Especially
looking.
because I have nothing to say about Harry Potter.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing when you got more people, then you can kind of fill in the voids when you can though. But yeah, I can go on and on about Hogwarts Legacy, and we'll obviously keep y'all in the loop in terms of any kind of updates on it though. But I feel like this game is still going to be a little bit of a ways out before we have it again though. But nah, I'm definitely looking forward to this mess though. Now, in terms of the next topic, the PS5 Pro is finally out, and none of y'all bought that PS5 Pro, right? I'm double
No,
checking.
Kyle
You
was
know,
considering it. Or he actually did buy it because he was gonna resell. But look at what's happening with the resellers.
well, I canceled mine about a month and a half before it actually launched
Thank
because I saw
God.
that it was not selling out. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to flip this. So I just canceled it. But I still thought to myself, hey, I'll just get rid of my PlayStation 5 and get a brand new PS5 Pro. Like, what's wrong with spending a couple $100, right? Like,
Oh,
I want the new one. But you know what made me go back on that? I
what?
found out that when you turn on a specific setting, it makes your performance worse.
What? Which fucking
I,
setting?
I
Wait,
I don't I don't remember exactly what setting it is, but I was reading something about it where if you turn on the super resolution or
oh, the
whatever it's called,
PSSR or whatever that new thing is called. You're talking about that?
I think so. Yeah, it makes the performance worse. Like it baffles me. It's like, why would anyone want to turn that on? I don't care about my resolution that much. I want my performance boost. That's all I care
Now,
about.
the main thing they were advertising with this thing is ideally you're supposed to have the ideally you're supposed to have the best of both worlds. So it's like you're supposed to have that high fidelity because you know what most games when you boot them up on PS5, it's like, do you want performance or do you want fidelity? Do you care about your 60 frames per second or do you care about your 4K resolution? And you usually always split in between those two, unless you're Insomniac Games where they have like an in between mode. And I feel like they're probably the best studio out there in terms of PlayStation studios that knows how to optimize the most for their hardware. Because like they
Yeah.
got some of this stuff in terms of like the ray tracing and stuff, but you can get it at like not quite 30 frames per second. It's a little higher, somewhere between like 40, 45-ish or something like that, which I don't really see that a lot from any of the other studios out there that PlayStation has though. But for the most part, it's usually one sided thing or the other. And the PS5 Pro is supposed to say, hey, you got the fidelity like in that fidelity mode, but you also keep your 60 FPS. And while to some degree that's kind of true, it kind of varies from game to game and it depends on how well the people that made the games optimized it or gave a certain patch for it. I think the game that said that it was utilizing it the most, I think was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which for me I didn't really have too many issues with that game. Then again, I was playing on a 1080p at 60 FPS. So I mean, it looked fine to me, but I imagine for people that were playing on 4K TVs or whatever or monitors, then yeah, that's probably where they were seeing most of the issues.
Yeah.
Ugh. But it's kind of
Yeah,
funny the fact that you said you were gonna get it, Kyle, but then you changed your mind. I was like, I'm kind of glad because when they did those comparison shots in between the two, I'm like, man, if you gotta zoom in up on this, yes, I understand YouTube compresses a lot of stuff
Well,
though, but ugh.
I
let
call
me be
that a
clear.
waste.
Hold on, let me be clear. I was not going to get it for myself until way down the road. I was only thinking about getting it at launch because I wanted to flip it and see if I can make a couple
Oh,
hundred
okay,
bucks.
okay, okay. Well,
Then
that
I found
changes
Yeah,
out that
things.
this thing's not going to sell, so I was like, nope. So I
right.
canceled my order.
Fact of the
I
matter
do
is,
want
I
to
can.
get one though, and now
Yeah,
that I found out though that the performance that you do not get to keep your 60 with the native 4K, it's like, dude, just go get yourself a 4080 Super. Like, yes, I know that's shelling out a lot more, but you're future proofed at least for 5 years, and you get not just 60 frames, you get 120 frames. Like, you don't need to worry about any of that anymore, you know? And you don't even have to come up with that much more. I just think they're jipping you. $700? Nah, it should have been 500 maximum, and then the PS5 should have come down to 400. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that what happened with the PS4 Pro? Didn't it just replace the base console?
Yeah, that's what they did. They took down the PS4, or the PS4 Pro launched at the same cost at the original PS4 at launch, and they knocked the baseline PS4 down by like almost like $100 or so, and they priced it, roughly like that. So it didn't seem as bad of a bullet to bite. But what were you saying, Steven, earlier?
I was just saying that the PS5 Pro is a waste.
It is.
And I could buy one in my local stores. No problem. Delivery in 2 days, it said.
I'd have to see it, to be honest, though. Like, before I can make my final judgment, like, I'd have to actually see it in action. Like, based on what they've shown me, it's like, that is so minuscule. Why would I want to replace my base system for a pro model if you can't even guarantee me 60 frames with 4K? Like, I already can't, I could already take my base model and shrink it down to 1080p and get my 60 frames. What is the new one going to do that's going to make me go out and say, yeah, I want to replace this thing?
See, now I feel like that's the crossroads that we're about to hit right now, because me and Steven been saying this for a long time. The ceiling cap is about to be hit in terms of how high you
Graphic.
can go in terms of graphics. Yes. So I think 4K
Yeah.
60 is probably going to be the borderline standard that a lot of people want to see. And I think the second you hit that, and you can consistently pump that out with hardly any issues, no frame drops, nothing weird with the resolution acting a little funky, I don't think it can get much better than that. People say some things with 8K and stuff like that, but like whole shoot, if you really want to get the bang out of buck with an 8K with 8K resolution, you have to have a super large TV. We're talking about 70 inches or more, and with some people's setups or the way how they like to play on monitors, that just ain't gonna vibe for a lot of people. So at that point, it's like you're just better off with 4K 60. So once we hit that ceiling cap, I mean, there ain't gonna be much more that you can do on that, and then we'll be lucky if the PS6 will manage to do that. And if it does, that's really gonna, you know, not really. It's gonna like downwater what the PS5 Pro was basically doing, because we just know it's like a stopgap, an extra SKU, a little extra money for to bring in some people, or to bring in for the company for PlayStation. That's
I
essentially what all this is.
I think we're at a point now where, I mean, we they could go the direction of 8K, which I think that is where they're going, but I think where
That's
they
only
really need
Gran
to go.
Turismo for the moment being. That's it.
And I mean, I actually just entered the world of 4K for the first time. Like, that's a lie. I mean, PS4, PS5 are technically 4K, but I mean like real 4K. Like, I finally got it going on my PC, and I still see some jags. There's a little bit, so I can see why there is a tiny bit of room if you really want to eliminate everything and just make it completely smoothed out, then fine, 8K, but I don't see it going anywhere beyond that. That is the maximum resolution. They need to focus on performance for the PS6. Like, yes, 1080p needs to be left in the dust, but they need to, like, 60 frames minimum, and they need to go up to like 120, maybe even 240, like for a PS6 Pro model. And the Pro model needs to come out as the same at the same time as the base model.
I'm
Like,
sorry. I'm
not
sorry.
put these
Excuse me, Kyle. Did you
mid-generational
say
jumps.
140, 240 for FPS for a
120.
PS6? Oh, heck,
120.
heck no. You got your expectations way too high. This is Sony at the end of the day. They barely going to be trying to get this 4K 60 out the door. I doubt they're going to do a 1080p
Listen,
120 FPS, what you were
If
saying.
they
Like,
want
oh,
to
shoot.
compete with today's market, they better. Because look at what the Switch 2 is going to do. They're going to come out with a portable PS4 and not even a year from now. If they want to compete with that level, they need to do something like crazy. And what they can't just come out with 8K. Like you said, nobody's gonna go out and buy 8K displays. They're way too expensive, and you'd have to get 70 inches or more for it to even be worth it. So where they really need to invest is performance. Make their
Yes,
games play at 120 FPS, 60 minimum. But yeah, make 120 like an option for more than half your games. Don't make it like Xbox where only like one game can do it, like Halo. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
And
think
what
I think there's a single game on PS5 that supports 8K.
Could you
it's like
imagine a
it's that
Mario
indie
game?
game or something like that.
Yeah, it's called The Tourist. It's like this Minecraft looking ass game.
Mm.
It supports 8K and I think 120 FPS. Maybe
Holy,
just for the
which one
joke.
is that?
The Tourist, but instead of an I, there's a Y.
Wow.
Listen,
8K.
I don't know, but it's really funny if you ask me.
And see, I'm only talking about staying at 4K level and doing 120 and not even on a PS5 Pro. This is on a PS6 console and PC. Switch 2 is not even going to be able to touch this. Like that I'm saying to compete with the Switch 2. But that kind of brings me to another topic. Like what if Nintendo stayed at 1080p and they didn't mess with 4K at all and they decided to go the performance route? Could you imagine playing the brand new 3D Mario game, the successor to Odyssey, and it plays at 120 FPS native? Like that's just what it does
That would be
because
Okay,
that's what
cool,
okay,
Nintendo
hold
but
up,
decided to
hold up.
do.
That'd be cool,
I
but me and
I
Steven, we can
I
check and balance
now
you on
that
this. Ain't no way Nintendo gonna do something like that. I'm sorry.
I listen,
No?
Nintendo, in my opinion, if we're talking about 120 FPS,
Yeah.
is at least another generation past the Switch 2 away.
Why?
Why? Because they're barely even able to scrape 30 recently. Yes, with more power,
No.
they'll be able to do more. Yes, have you?
Kyle will be doing good if we can get a 1080 screen in the handheld
I,
mode, which
I,
you can kind of do with some things like your like my Asus ROG Ally and stuff. That has a screen that can do 1080, 120 FPS for games if you want it. Yeah, that battery might be running hot,
I don't
but
know.
I don't expect it because this thing's kind of beefy. I don't expect Nintendo to come
Listen,
out with a really beefy handheld.
I think there are two options. I think there are two roads Nintendo goes down. 1080 or 1080 120 or 1440p 120 or 4K mostly 60.
The first
Which
one.
I would prefer I would prefer if Nintendo, because listen, remember, you got to remember this, Kyle. Nintendo actually optimized their games. So if any company can do 4K 60, it's Nintendo. I
True.
feel. Besides Astrobot, wasn't Astrobot actually native 4K 60?
Yeah, that one was.
It
That was
looks
like
like
one of
it.
those few
Exactly.
exceptions.
You see, oh, did we lose Zard?
No, no, no. You didn't lose me unless
Uh,
you can't hear me.
somebody, let me reconnect quick. Something's up with my end. One
Okay.
second.
But yeah, while he's doing that, as we're almost about to wrap up this PlayStation segment thing, though, shoot, this is the most PlayStation we talked about in a long time, Kyle. Bring you on, and you're gonna keep this thing going on for a hot minute, though. But I did want to report on some numbers because Astrobot, like that was like one of the most recent releases from PlayStation, and they did manage to put up some sales figures for that. It did manage to sell 1.5 million copies. Now, technically, I still feel like that's going to be a Game of the Year contender, so the fact that it sold 1.5 million isn't quite bad, especially for a platformer that's not a platformer made by Nintendo, aka we're talking about a
All
Mario
right,
game or whatever. All right, you back, Steven?
I'm back. Are we talking about Astrobot Game of
I,
the Year?
yeah, I was just mentioning the sales of it while we're on the PlayStation topic. It did sell 1.5 million.
That's nothing. I love, like that's great, but for a for a first party PlayStation game, maybe I'm wrong. You'd expect more.
I wonder why it's good. I hope it still gets a sequel.
Well, no, here's the thing.
It's getting a
It
little bit of
definitely will.
DLC here and there though, and I
No,
feel like it should get a sequel. It won't
no,
be
here's the
maybe
thing.
on the PS5. I think it would be PS6, but
Astrobot is PlayStation's mascot, basically. It's the closest thing they have. And yeah, Sony in the US might not really use them that much, but Astrobot, the game, got a lot more marketing in other regions than it did here. So I'm pretty sure. even if the game didn't sell amazingly, it got amazing reviews and the goodwill is there. Just Sony can parade it around as a high quality game that they have exclusive to their system, which it is. It's great.
Yeah, even though the sales aren't necessarily there, they can still,
Yeah.
they can grow.
Like I seen people saying, "Oh, Astrobot, it's not really a Sony game. Oh, it's derivative of this game and that game, Mario Galaxy, this and that." They're acting like every single 3D game in the 90s was not derivative of Mario 64.
Mm.
Like
Yeah. Hey,
like
before we
every
wrap up the PlayStation segment, though, I did want to throw in one more counter argument to the reasoning why I believe we're going to get a big performance boost next generation for PlayStation.
well,
The reason
obviously
I think that is because what's the selling point for the PS6? The PS5 selling point was 8K media and
Which they
true
failed
4K.
SSDs.
upon.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I said, which they failed upon. There's only like one game or
Which
two
they
that
failed
does that.
upon.
And that's the reason why they took that
Exactly.
sticker off box. So with the PS5 Pro, you
It
don't
was
see that thing up on there.
So they
it was
can't just turn
mostly
around and say it again, right? They'd basically be saying, "Hey, it's 8K media and true 4K 60, but for real this time." Like they can't say that, so they need to do better than what they did last time. Like it, it's kind of hard for me to put it into words because it's like people aren't necessarily going to believe it. Like let's just say the PS6, they market it as the first 4K 120 FPS system. Like it's across the board. Every game you play that's for the PS6, that's what it does minimum 4K 120.
PS6, the
Um
first system that directly loads into your brain through cables.
yeah,
Infinite
maybe the
FPS.
12 will do that.
I would say the last thing I want to say up on this thing before we move it over to the next point. I think PlayStation's in that weird little spot where even they are probably starting to realize, and hopefully they'll probably start seeing it in terms of like surveys, consumer testing and stuff, and just kind of see from the casual audience, because obviously that's the one that's gonna, the biggest market of people you can sell your console to. Once they start not
Hmm.
noticing anything huge in terms of graphics that clearly defines a generation rolling from one to the next, it's going to be about the experience and what you can do within the actual games themselves that's going to define a generation to another generation. Nintendo has a lot of flexibility since they've been doing their blue ocean strategy, so they got a ways to go before they're like right next to PlayStation, Xbox. But I feel like that's where the PXX has to do in terms of the future. If they want to bring anybody else into their ecosystem that isn't like already a diehard Sony pony at this point. All right, all right. So with all of that said, that was a good PlayStation segment, man. Kyle, well, I'll remember to bring you back on if we got to talk about PlayStation heavily in the future, though, because I know you're gonna bring it every time, though. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna do it in terms of that. So now that we got that done with, let's go ahead and talk about Xbox real quick because they've been doing some little bit of weird stuff here too lately. Because y'all both seen that little campaign that they've been doing where it's like, oh, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox too. This is a bento box, and that might be a cat box, but this is an Xbox. Where they're just going through and
Well,
listing out a whole
yeah,
bunch of different devices like that. And a lot of people have been kind of looking at that marketing material. Some are confused, some think it's bad, and a very small amount of people might be thinking, oh, it's kind of clever because you can play your Xbox games anywhere. With an asterisk
I
on it,
think.
though.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's just kind of backfired because yeah, on one hand, it's like oh, Xbox can be so many different things. Anything can be an Xbox. So why buy an Xbox? Like, am I crazy? Why would you buy an Xbox if the phone in my hand is an Xbox? If the computer I spent how much money on is an Xbox, why the hell would I actually go out and buy an Xbox for their backwards compatibility? Which they're making an all digital Xbox soon. So why?
I
Like
think the
they're
main reason I feel like they're kind of pushing with this marketing material is the fact that they look at Sony and what is it? It's been like this in this generation. It's been like this in the last one. The last time Xbox was like really on top was like back in the Xbox 360 era and stuff like that. But I think they kind of look at
Oh
them
yeah.
and they're like, you know what? There's just no way we can really compete toe to toe with them. So let's do our quote unquote. It's not quite like a blue ocean strategy like Nintendo is doing. I don't know what they're calling this mess though, but it's a very unique approach where they were pushing GameStop. Not I say GameStop. Man, forget GameStop. I hate them. No, they were pushing Game Pass for the longest bit of time, and they were saying, "Hey, that's like the future Xbox." But then obviously they're trying to run this console thing, and the reason why you might want to have a console. But then they do this mixed marketing message where it's like, "Oh, you can play on all these different devices." I just think at this point, Xbox just wants to be the biggest publisher in games, period. Where it's on their own console, it's on a PC, it's on mobile. You can play it on the TV, you can play it on your Oculus, you can play it on your stupid Fire Stick that you can stick up into the TV. Wherever you have a piece of technology, even if it's selling it and putting the games on the Nintendo Switch or even on the PS5. Xbox just want you playing their games no matter where it's at. And I think that's just the direction they're trying to go. It's almost a pseudo third party mindset at this point in the game, which a lot of diehard Xbox people, they kind of hate that. They wanted to see, Xbox to just be better than like PlayStation, quote unquote. But at this point in the game, I think that's where Microsoft's mind is thinking. And I think for a lot of people, they're just like, either just go full third party or communicate this well. Stop sending us mixed messages. Like, is that how
Microsoft,
you're feeling too, Steven and Kyle?
I think Microsoft has just given up on trying to actually compete with PlayStation, which on one hand could work, like Nintendo isn't competing and they're doing great because like obviously Nintendo can't compete when it comes to hardware. They can compete with their exclusives. The issue is that Xbox gets all the same games as PlayStation, but later. Like PlayStation, yeah, of course, all of those games eventually come to other things, but especially nowadays, like, with how much discussion on games goes out so quickly. Yeah, on PS5 you'll be able to play most of like the big games early, like a year in advance, which is a big deal when you have a lot of games on the backlog and you just want to get to a game and everyone's talking about like this big game. And at least for me, Astrobot, like if I don't know, if I waited until that came out on other stuff, I probably would have just forgotten about it.
Exactly.
And also the PlayStation 5, in my opinion, is just much better in general. If we're talking about build quality, well, okay. Okay, I'm if we're talking about just the console in general, I think the PlayStation 5 is just better. It has more personality with the actual design. I love the DualSense controller, even though it
Really
has a
good
shitty
haptic
battery life.
feedback.
Yeah,
That
I think the
ooh,
I think the DualSense is the only thing about the PlayStation 5 that truly feels next gen. Like it feels like
The
I'm holding
operating
something.
system is better too.
Oh yeah.
Xbox, they didn't change anything.
Well, the Xbox Series X and S just feel like your iPhone upgrades. Oh, it's more powerful. It's just the next one.
That's the perfect way to put it,
And
actually.
which like
That's
here's the
exactly what
thing.
it is.
Like a lot of people are speculating that's what the Switch is gonna do. Like, you Switch version 2 or Switch this and that. I
Oh
like
god, no.
PlayStation at least has a history of numbering their systems. They're upgrading, they're improving on a design. They're not going for something completely unique. Xbox, in my opinion, is really just trying to be the most confusing company ever. Remember, the names themselves, Series X and Series S. Like
Yeah.
You got Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X. I'm like, oh my god.
Their first two names were great, and then they just what
I
happened?
remember back in
Yeah,
the day when they went from Xbox to Xbox
yeah.
360, and everybody and their mama were thinking they're gonna do the 720, and then they came out with the Xbox One. We're like, what?
You're cutting out a little there
Oh wait, I
on
was
my end.
saying, I remember back in the day when they did the Xbox and then the Xbox 360, and everybody and their mama was thinking they were gonna do the Xbox 720, but then they came out with an Xbox One. I was like, what the heck?
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Wasn't the Xbox One showcased at E3 like one of the most disastrous things they ever did that they
Yeah,
still
because they
haven't
were gonna do
truly recovered from?
DRM.
They still haven't truly recovered from that showcase?
I don't know.
I
I
I
feel like, to be honest, yes, because I feel like they fumbled it. And what was it? You had interviews and stuff from Phil Spencer where it's like, "Hey, we lost a generation where it really mattered or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, you might have lost that, but that doesn't necessarily define
Yeah.
you for everything moving forward." I mean, if you look at the Nintendo system and you think from the Wii, which sold 100 million copies, 100 million systems, and it tanked barely in the teens, in the millions on the Wii U, but then you come back with by the end of this year, it could very well be close to 150
Yeah.
million. It's going to be the third highest selling console of all time, and it's still within shot of reason to surpass the Nintendo DS for the second place or the PS2 for the number one overall shot. So I'm like, whatever happens in the past doesn't necessarily define you for what you can basically do in the future, though. And it's just I don't know. Xbox has got this weird mixed messaging and all of this stuff though. I just ain't vibing with it though. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you don't have like really great solid games that just make people want to run out and buy
Well, I
Xboxes.
think
Yes, I know you're going through and doing acquisitions with Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, but before you did those acquisitions, you
listen,
weren't necessarily like making really great high quality games, or at least not at a consistent rate.
here's what I think. You buy a game console because you want to play games. Why would you buy a Series X compared to a PS5? The only reason you would is if you're already too far gone into the Xbox ecosystem, which at
Game
that
Pass
point,
is a little more enticing.
or Game Pass. But at the same time, more recently than ever, due to stupid things that companies have said, a lot more people actually want to own their games. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people get really mad when talks of licensing and games getting delisted happens, and games being taken from people's accounts. Did you see that thing they had to do on Steam saying that you don't actually own the games, you own the license?
I mean, that's technically always true for basically anything you buy
Yes,
digital.
but it's just we're getting closer and closer to the point where they are going to actually just say, you know what, Ubisoft, Ubisoft's going to go, hey, that new Assassin's Creed game was so bad, we're going to take it from your libraries and try to act like it never happened.
Hey, they did the same thing. Well, PlayStation did the same thing with Concord. They literally said that game never happened. You might have
Well,
But
bought
they
that
gave
yeah,
fifty
all their
bucks.
money
They gave
back
all the
though.
money back and said,
yeah,
"Nope."
yeah, but that was $400 million that people will never forget. I'm just saying that this could happen on a smaller scale. You could create, especially now with crypto and AI scam games being a thing. Like, someone can create some kind of slop scam game and then just erase it from everyone's libraries trying to cover it up. I think it's just kind of it's also just bad for game preservation. Like games will just be lost forever because of stuff like this. And people aren't happy about that. People don't like that. And I think all of that has just kind of made Game Pass seem a little less interesting. And also the fact that prices keep going up.
The
What
only
didn't
way
they?
Game Pass is going to stay relevant is if that whole day one thing includes like almost all their games.
Because that's the thing. Isn't it like day one for all Xbox games? Yeah, which Xbox games?
That's a
Huh?
good point. Yeah.
Which
Which
Xbox games? Fucking Indiana Jones? Oh my god, I get to play. I get to watch the movie
well,
day one?
instead
Holy
of just
shit.
Xbox games, it needs to be like all major first party releases. Like maybe not Xbox, but like, the big ones that come out for
Like,
everything.
listen, yeah, they have like Doom the Dark Ages coming up, and uh, whatever the
Yeah,
next
that
Fallout
needs to
game
be
is gonna
I'm I,
be,
I-
and
I'm looking
significant.
forward to that
Elder
Doom's the
Scrolls
Dark
6.
Age one, but I'll be getting that on PC
Yeah,
or something,
and then
unless it's on
Elder Scrolls
PS5.
6, Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna come out one day. But like, they have a lot of games in the pipeline. I think that's the issue. Xbox is playing the long term, but like they're not even putting anything out in between. What's Xbox's biggest property? Halo? What the fuck is Halo doing right now?
No,
Nothing.
343 is in a hot mess though, and I don't even think they're going to be making the
Well,
next one though.
it's
So
not
I'm
even.
like,
It's not even. No, it's not even 343 anymore. I'm pretty sure they renamed. Their name is now Halo
no,
Studios.
no, no, no. I was saying because of the stuff they 343 did, they
Oh
they,
yeah.
they just kind of revamped, chopped, and cleaned out the house and stuff. And they're like, no, we're gonna do things completely different now because we can't have our quote unquote mascot be looking like this. I'm just saying
Okay,
they should just
here's
make
something
Doom their
Xbox.
mascot. Oh,
Here's something Xbox can do. You know how they haven't
What?
been making any games? What if the plan Now, you know how you said the Series X and the One X and all that, it's like iPhone upgrades. The operating
Yeah.
system just doesn't change. All right. So what if the new system's in development and this time everything's going to change? Like everything's brand new. And that means that the games you can't I don't know what this new Xbox is going to be called, but let's just say it's the Xbox Infinity, all right? You get this thing, there's going to be games for the Xbox Infinity. You can't get them for the predecessor. It's only for the Infinity. Kind of like back in the day when you got an Xbox 360 game or a PS3 game, it looked completely different from a PS2 game because there was a huge jump. They need a big jump like that again. And I think if Xbox were to do that and they have a ton of IPs they haven't been doing anything with, like imagine a Banjo 3E and it's only on this new system, like, and it just
Oh,
looks
so
like
so exclusives.
yeah.
Holy
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
They ain't bringing Banjo back, man. Man, you giving people false hope, man. You can't do that.
No, they're bringing fucking Perfect Dark back. They're bringing a lot of stuff back.
I'm
Yeah,
allowed to dream.
we got Croc came back.
It did.
Okay, do you
Probably in a kind of
Zard,
lackluster way, but I'm
Zard, we
talking
are
like he comes back in a big
no,
way.
I know, but
Like this is
we are genuinely in the age of nostalgia bait. Like nostalgia bait is at an all-time high in the last 10 years. Do you
then why
really think
can't they just capitalize it on the most expensive way possible?
because they're gonna eventually when people least expect it
This is the
and
way
when
to do it.
Xbox completely runs out of ideas, which they're
Mhm.
close.
They're
Yeah,
there.
that's what
They've
I
made it.
think. That's what I think is that stuff like that will come. We're getting a little off track, but basically, yeah, Xbox just I don't know why they're doing this whole new marketing. You know, everything is an Xbox, so please don't buy the actual Xbox.
And the funny thing about this, and this is the last thing I'll say before we roll over to the Nintendo topic stuff. But it's funny how they put out this marketing campaign, and I did a little digging on it though, and not everything in terms of this marketing thing is ready to go. Like even when they say, "Hey, you can play Xbox games on your phone," that mess is still in beta. That mess ain't even
Isn't it
fully
only
working yet.
cloud?
Yeah, and part of it's like cloud only and it's stuff, and even the cloud stuff, it's like it's still hit or miss. I mean, it's better than some other cloud stuff you might have out there in terms of just gaming related stuff in general, though. But like even that, it's not like fully up to snuff. So it's like even some of the things they're offering in this marketing material, it's not even quite there yet. And yet they put this marketing campaign out, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't know. We can go on and on about Xbox's weird business decisions, them not making like great quality games and stuff like that. Their mixed marketing message and stuff like they they care about Game Pass and stuff, but like the subscription based service ain't really grown and stuff. There's a lot of issues that Phil Spencer really needs to go through and clean. And I hope that dude's in good health though, because there was like one image of him recently though, and he doesn't quite look the same as like some of his past shots. I'm just
Isn't
gonna go
isn't
ahead and throw that out.
somebody isn't somebody else like actually in charge of Xbox now?
I mean, not I mean, Phil still has his current job though, but it depends on if you're talking about like the oh gosh, whatever the
What's the name of the
appropriate
woman?
terms are like the what's Sarah Bond. Yeah,
Listen,
Sarah
I'm
Bond, Phil
listen.
Spencer, and Matt Booty are like the kind of the
um,
big three. Yeah, the big three in terms of Xbox. They all got like different
Yeah.
subtitles for their stuff, but yeah.
One last thing I'll say about Xbox, at least from me, is that I'm still mad about Hi-Fi Rush. Screw you guys.
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't know. We're gonna hear about that till the cows come home every
Well, yeah,
single
it's
gosh
like
dang time.
obviously like it rose like a phoenix, and someone was it Krafton or whatever the name of the company is making a new one. But the fact of the matter is, Xbox took the one game that Xbox got unanimous praise from, gone. We're not making another one.
Reduced to atoms.
Like Zard, has there been any other Xbox game that really got people talking?
Not to the level or the pedigree like that, unless you're talking about some of the games that got acquired from acquisitions, like a Call of Duty, which everybody, my mom was always going to talk about one of them kind of games. But outside of that, not really.
I got you.
Yeah, but outside of that, that's all we got for the Xbox segment, though. So now we got PlayStation, Xbox out of the way, though. Now we don't have to be pulling out our hair quite as much, though, because now we can talk about some fun Nintendo stuff and a
Yay!
whole shoot. Yes, we start things off beautifully with that Super Nintendo World Direct for Donkey Kong theme expansion thing. And you know what? I say, sign me up. Kyle, Steven, we're going to Japan next month when that mess drops out. I don't know who has the money, but we'll find the money somehow, though, because gosh dang it, Nintendo doesn't want to put out a brand new Donkey Kong game, so they ain't putting out a new Donkey Kong game. We're just gonna have to go to the theme park and talk to the Cranky Kong animatronic and tell him exactly like where the game at, man. While we're over there in Japan, maybe we can get some real questions out of the HQ Center, though. But
They
overall,
tie up,
I like what
tie
they show.
tie up the guy wearing the Donkey Kong outfit and force him to reveal the release date of the next Donkey Kong
That
game.
was a pretty beefy DK suit. Did you see that mess, Kyle?
It's
Yes, yes, I saw the whole direct, and
it looks so good.
I am so excited because I mean, the Mario Park was already kind of cool, but just not worth the trip because it's way too small. Now we got another park, so it's like it's starting to become something, and it's like, all right, this is starting to look a little more worth it. Imagine just one more park, and then it's like, all right, now I feel like we got a big package now.
I think if
It's
there
worth
were to do
going.
another one, it probably would be like a Legend of Zelda one. I feel like that would be the next
um,
IP. But
Yes.
with the what they showcase off in here though, I like the atmosphere was given. Like the second they were walking through the tunnel and they saw, or you get to see all of these like jungle like vibes and stuff. Of course, you see DK's hut, like his home base and stuff. The whole horde of bananas that are up underneath there and stuff. I was like, oh heck yes. I was like, sign me up. And did y'all see that food and stuff? I was kind of scratching my head on some of that food, like that stupid hot dog, man. I was like, so what's this yellow stuff you're putting up on y'all's hot dogs over there in
I don't
Japan? That
know.
that look odd or something. I don't know
Yeah.
about the food, and I'm not necessarily like, one of the biggest banana lovers. Like y'all like bananas? Like that's like the one fruit I really can't mess with.
I like putting bananas in my strawberry shakes, but that's about it.
Hmm, that makes sense.
Mm.
But in terms of what they showcase off in this direct, it was pretty simple. Miyamoto was just going around, just introducing stuff like that. I like how you can find all of the Kong letters that you normally go through and try to collect when you're in a DK level. So I like little tidbits like that where you had that little bit of oh gosh, what's the word? That interaction in terms of the parts with the little special amiibo wristband thing. So that's really nice. And then what was it? It was like the rhythm beating on the bongos thing. You know what I'm talking about, Steven,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, the little rhythm mini game you play when you walk in or whatever.
Yeah, essentially like Donkey Konga 2 or Jungle Bee or whatever though. I can imagine just little things like that probably having some really long lines though. But having the rhino pop out at the very end, that was a nice touch. At least we got two animal buddies accounted for that we saw at least in this direct. I imagine there might be more, but at least two of them are accounted for. Oh, and I think
Really,
outside of that, the only other thing they showed off was the roller coaster. But what were you about to say, Steven?
it is really cool. I was just everything about it, just the detail they put in. It really does feel like even the way they texture everything, the way that everything is painted with the textures, it really does feel like they ripped it directly from the game world and plopped it into the park.
You know
Like,
what, Kyle? When we go there, we ought to pick up that DK barrel and throw it up against the ground and see if Diddy Kong or something pops out of it. It just hit me
yeah,
just now.
the Cranky Kong animatronic for the minecart like waiting room is really cool. I
That
definitely
roller
see
coaster, I
why.
wanna see what that roller coaster has. I like
Yeah,
the sneak peek was enough, but I would like to know, like, is it gonna be like I think I get Thunder Mountain vibes from it.
well, Miyamoto described it as a roller coaster for people that don't like roller coasters, making me think it's going to be slower paced. But I'd hope not. We'll see.
I
Thunder
mean,
Mountain.
I feel like there's certain attractions that have like those more interactive experience ones. Like you've probably seen some of those rides where it's like you get on them, you have some fast moments, but you'll have like spots where it's like you have like the 4D glasses. Like I feel like more rides nowadays, they're not just like pure thrill rides in terms of like just going really fast. It's more like an interactive experience stuff like how I know you like the Harry Potter stuff. Have you been to the Harry Potter world and stuff in Orlando?
One time, yes, and it was
Yeah,
yeah,
so
actually no, I did do twice. Once in Orlando and once in LA.
yeah, so you get like those crazy things where it's like you're kind of ricking and riding up on there. You got wind blowing up against you. So I wouldn't put it past them to have like a experience similar to that with the DK stuff. But I mean, so far from the footage they showed us, it looked like it was an outside part. But who's to say that you don't go inside or something like that? So I imagine I could see something cool to the level degree like that. So kind of like what you were saying earlier, Kyle. Now that we have the Super Nintendo world with the Mario side, now you had the DK stuff. That's what I was waiting on for both of those two to be done and come over to Orlando. The second that was done, then I can start planning my vacation. Then I'll go over there and
Yes.
and do all that stuff. Because at least at that point, hey, while you're over there in Orlando, you can hit up all the Disney World parks, hit up the two traditional Universal parks as well, and then now you have the Nintendo World stuff and the DK. That's enough to last you for at least almost a week and a half doing all
Wait,
of that mess.
Oh yeah.
did they say when the park is gonna be available in Orlando, the DK one?
Uh, it's
Was
some
it early
point in 20
2025?
it's some point in 2025. I'm trying to remember. There is a tentative date for it. I'm trying to think, is it in the first half of the year or the second half of the year? Hmm.
Probably in the first half.
I think
I don't
my gut
remember
is
what they said.
saying, yeah, look that up for us, Kyle, because I was like,
I thought
I
it
Oh wait,
was
want
no, they
this
said
year.
wasn't it whenever the other park is like they're opening a new park and that one's gonna release with DK already done and made like opened. That's what
yeah,
they said.
yeah. I mean, that's the one Orlando is because the one in Hollywood that has the only the Mario World, that
Holly,
one's
that's yeah.
available, and you can already visit that one now. But when the Orlando one opens up, it'll have everything, the Mario stuff and the DK stuff, and that's what I was waiting for.
That's the one I'm gonna be able to go to. That's probably the closest one to me.
Yeah, because I was like, I ain't going to California. California's nice and all though, but that's a far ways out. I rather just go to Orlando. There's a lot more stuff I can do over there. How were you able to find that date? I want to say it's the first half of the year.
DK Land open. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah,
December 11th, 2024.
that's for
But where
Japan. December 11, 2024. That's for Japan.
is
But
that
for
only Japan? Are
yeah,
we
that's only
sure?
for Japan. Yeah. And then man, I know I saw that date somewhere before and I'm kicking myself the fact I ain't able to pull this up right now.
May 22nd next year.
Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, so we were right in the first half. So that's only like
Cool.
what these January, February, March, April. That's only 5 months after the one that opens up in Japan. So that's not too bad for us over here in America. Because not everybody and their mom's gonna be able to, book a flight to Japan and stuff. But that's pretty cool though. So nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to this. Maybe we'll coordinate our schedule, Steven, or something like that, and we'll hop a flight. Shoot, if I'm going all the way to Orlando, I ain't driving all the way over there. We gotta fly or something
Oh
because
yeah,
I, I ain't I
maybe a
ain't doing
flight.
I ain't doing that driving.
I'm gonna probably end up organizing a cruise or something. Make a big trip out of it. So
Oh,
that
so
would
do the
just be
cruise either before or after that, and then just do all the other stuff around there. Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's
Either
that's not a
start
bad
with
idea.
Mario or end with Mario. You know,
Yeah,
just
that's not.
make it. Yeah, it'd be a good trip.
Yeah.
Nintendo Museum though,
Where's that at again?
you in Japan, so you'd be able to go to Super Nintendo World and Nintendo Museum if you go to
No,
Japan.
I'd be talking about going to Orlando. I wouldn't go to
Now that would be
Uh,
Japan.
too much, Steven, to fly over there to Japan just to take a cruise. I'm like, gosh dang, man. Oh,
I went to
goodness.
Bermuda recently, and I feel like, well, I was gonna say Japan's obviously further. If I was on West Coast, Japan would probably wouldn't be so bad.
Mm. Yeah, it wouldn't be too terribly bad, but I mean that's
Japan, I'm pretty sure Japan is like literally going halfway across the world where I'm from.
for you, yes. Definitely for you. Oh shoot. But yeah, I think that's all we got to say in terms of the Nintendo World Direct though. So a really fun direct. Nothing crazy. Obviously we weren't getting no Switch 2
Yeah.
news up in that though. But
People
I like
really
I
thought we would.
some people just run with the joke though, but I like how Nintendo's been on a hot streak of saying or releasing some kind of news, but it just ain't what people want to hear though, and I
Well,
just find that funny.
Nintendo fans are sometimes really crazy. They think we're gonna get fucking Smash 6 and Mario Odyssey 2 and F-Zero 55 or whatever. Like they go crazy. So Nintendo really does have to say Switch 2 is not getting shown off, guys.
Yeah,
I think they
yeah,
said it. They said it for the Nintendo Museum one too. And I'm like, it is a museum showing old stuff. Why would it have the reveal of their new console? Idiots.
it is Nintendo. People get excited, man. I mean, we see the reactions and stuff to Smash Brother reveals and stuff.
Fair
It, it,
enough.
it's just it just kind of goes without saying, really. All right, so while we're talking about Nintendo, let's go ahead and talk about their fiscal report stuff. So we managed to get some updated numbers in terms of like console sales stuff, along with certain games and stuff in terms of how many copies they managed to sell. So I'm trying to scroll over here and my little bit of notes over here and try to pull up all the numbers though. But in terms of like the overall Switch sales, oh, I'm almost there. Here we go. The Switch is at 146.04 million units sold, which isn't too shabby. And I think with the holiday push, it's probably going to get right around that 150-ish marker though. But let's go ahead and run through the new updated top 10 here real quick. We'll blast through these. So, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Gosh dang it, people. 17.77 million units. Super Mario Party. Gosh dang it, people again. 20.98 million. Tears of the Kingdom at
Ah,
21.04. Scarlet and Violet at 25.69. Sword and Shield at 26.44. Mario Odyssey at 28.50, Breath of the Wild at 32.29, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 35.14, Animal Crossing New Horizons at 46.45, and then the king that never can be stopped, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 64.27 million units sold.
this
Any,
really is Mario
oh, what?
Kart
Oh,
64, huh?
Ah.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. I was like, man, anything about those numbers,
Insane.
Kyle, stand out to you?
I don't have them in front of me. All I remember is the last one. You said 64, and that makes me
Yeah.
think of Mario
So
64.
I was looking at this. Nintendo kind of put these little images together just to make it easier. Mario Odyssey and 3D World plus Bowser's Fury together sold 42 million units. So your 3D Mario's on Switch sold 42 million. Your 2D Mario games on Switch altogether sold 41 million. Your Mario Parties sold 34 million, not including Jamboree. This was before that. And then Mario Kart by itself sold 64 million.
And that's still not slowing down, is it?
Oh,
It's
that's a whole lot of
still not.
Mario right there.
It's crazy, honestly.
Well, I
Like,
want Mario Kart 10.
Nintendo is crazy on Switch. Like, these aren't even updated numbers. But Mario Odyssey, compared to Mario Odyssey, I think sold more than every other 3D Mario game combined.
That's insane. And that's like, I mean, I like Odyssey, but I do not like the structure of the missions compared to
I
the
don't
predecessors.
I don't think it's as good as Mario Galaxy, but I fucking love the game, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm nitpicking. Like if all in all, it's great. Like just give me another one. Like I'm
Listen,
ready for the
people are
next Mario game.
Odyssey is a game that people will remember years down the line. Sunshine has a lot more problems than Odyssey. But people
Yeah,
Man,
but
I
remember it.
can't I
it has a
can't
better
stand
structure.
Sunshine,
Oh, okay.
Kyle.
All right,
Kyle, you might not know about
Zard.
this, but I
Pretend
can't
I didn't hear that.
stand that game. Man, you talking about about past games though. No, Odyssey does leaps and
Alright,
numbers over that sucker. All right, continue on,
Yeah,
Steven.
but
yeah.
that's where I kind of disagree with Sunshine. When I get done with Sunshine, I feel accomplished. I feel like I just did something. When I beat Odyssey, I feel like there's 50 different ways to get there where it's like, yeah, I could have beat this game on baby mode and I
But
got
hold on here. The
there's
open
That's
structure of
800 different
Odyssey
moves.
though is so much better though. And you
well,
don't have to get kicked out of a level when you get one of them stars, which is like one of my major tidbits for like all the other past Mario games that were like 3D that you get before this though. You can still go around
well,
and explore each one of these realms though. And you better watch that Mario Sunshine talk over here. How like I just brought you on as a guest though, but ooh wee.
alright, so here's what I'm gonna
Mario
say. I think
Sunshine is very unforgiving. I'm sorry, Stevens. Go ahead.
oh yeah, Mario Sunshine is very unforgiving. Like there's the stupid ass pachinko machine, which I think made people actually
Oh yeah.
rage back in the day. I was just gonna say that I think Mario Odyssey, in my opinion, Mario Odyssey has the better approach because Mario games are supposed to have like this difficulty curve and all that, but I think Odyssey does the best thing where you can kind of carve your own path. If you want to go for the more challenging moons, follow the basics, the main story moons, you can.
Yeah.
But let's just say someone that's a little bit less experienced going off the beaten path will still be rewarded. It's all
But
about
for,
exploration. They don't
but
want to
for
make it
someone
so
But
I
for
don't know.
someone who's a completionist, though, like
Oh
myself,
yes,
I
no,
like
trust
getting
me.
120 stars. And then Galaxy, I mean, that already threw me off. I had to go get 120 green stars on top of the 120 yellow stars. But I loved it because it was like, hey, it gives me more to do. And then they tripled down with Odyssey and they gave us over 800 moons to collect. And like, I'm happy about it. It gave me a lot to do, but I have my complaints. Number one, some of these moons you just have to outright buy, and you could just buy all the moons as currency. You could just buy like, oh,
You
are you
can
missing
do that, but
300
it
moons?
doesn't count. You can do it,
I,
but it
Yeah.
doesn't
you're
count.
right. It doesn't
Listen,
fill out the book. You're right. It
y-
doesn't fill out the book. So you're right. Maybe I should take back that complaint. But
you
here's the
can
complaint that sticks, though. I don't
yeah,
like how 25% of the moons are, hey, go ground pound that hill over there. Like that kind of
that
like,
could have been
that's a
Hold
removed.
padding,
up, hold up.
a
All
lot of
right, hold on.
padding.
We're almost getting off track, but this is the last thing I'll say. You said ground pound that hill. It's not just ground pound a regular old hill. You have to explore, and when you go around and explore, you'll notice that your pro controller starts rumbling a little
Sword,
bit,
shut
and
up.
then bang, that's when
True.
you get the star. It's more of a sense of accomplishment from you just going around and exploring. It's not just randomly ground pounding the thing.
But
Come
All right,
on.
I
we're
don't feel
leaving it. We're
like I
leaving it there. We're
accomplished
leaving it
anything.
there. Hold, we're
You're
leaving
giving
it
you're
there.
giving
We
Odyssey. I love
no.
I speedrun Odyssey, and I'm still gonna say you're giving it way too much credit, dude. I felt my controller move, so I pressed the button. Like
I
you can,
don't feel I don't feel nearly as accomplished doing that versus, hey, there's this little path I got a wall kick up right next to the boulders because it says watch for rolling rocks. Like
yeah,
I
'cause it
know
gives
that
you
this
a clue.
Mario 64 is from 1996 and it's super old, and I'm sure there's plenty of those moments in Odyssey. So I'm not trying to discredit the game. Odyssey is fucking amazing. Like I love that game, but like I I expect more. I want the next
Alright,
game to be Bowser's Fury meets Odyssey meets
yeah.
Mario 64.
Alright, we're gonna
I mean,
yeah,
I think that's where we're getting, and we're getting off track.
I'm
are
sorry.
I
moving we
like
are
that last
moving
thought you
on from
said.
Odyssey. Here's what I'll say. Last thing about Odyssey that I will say is that you could have removed all those shitty padding moons and still had over 400 unique challenges easily.
That's a good point. That's a
Mhm.
fair
So
point.
They were just
guess
adding
what?
extra.
That's the middle
They were
ground.
just putting a
You
lot of
could
extra
have
whipped cream up on that Sunday for you, man. That's
you
all they
could have
were
yeah,
doing.
you could
You
have
didn't have
still
to eat
had
all
a
that Cool Whip. That's all I'm
it
saying.
yes,
So
it was
like
possible to have tons of easy ones and still have a decent amount of hard ones.
you're right. So let's just say I go to Baskin Robbins and I love my cookie dough and my cookies and cream, and then you just want me to try like this new flavor and it's sherbet, and it's like, okay, it's all right, but this doesn't really go with this other ice cream. And it's like, but yeah, thanks, I'll eat it. And it's kind of what Odyssey is to me. It's like, hey, I love this game, especially the parts that I really really love, but the parts that I just kind of like, I still have to go through it though to get to the parts that I really love, where Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine are almost exclusively just parts I love. And I guess maybe not for you, Zard. You hate Sunshine.
I ain't talking about that game not one more
Alright.
time on this
That's
pod for
for
the rest of
another
Yeah,
this
alright.
video.
year.
So back to what I was saying. 3D Mario and basically all Mario games have done exponentially well on Switch. Like they just keep going up, keep going up. But that's not all. Other Nintendo franchises have found a second, well, not a second wind, but like a brand new life on Switch. Pikmin, I'm looking at the chart right now. Pikmin on Wii U and 3DS sold 1.78 million. Pikmin on Switch has sold 7.86 million total,
That's insane.
which is
That's
insane. That's insane. Like it sold
insane
more
range.
than some on Nintendo's Mario spin-offs and all of that. It did really well in Japan too, Pikmin. Kirby is kind of the insane one here. Kirby, I know they had like 3 games, but 15 million units
That is a lot.
compared to the 5.62 on Wii U/3DS. Metroid, this makes me happy. Metroid on Wii U/3DS was less than a million. It's 0.98, and it's now at almost
Dang.
5 million.
Oh,
And Xenoblade Chronicles 1.41 on Wii U/3DS. Remember, Wii U and 3DS, that was 2 Xenoblade games right there. You got three Xenoblade 3D and Xenoblade X, and it still only did less than 2 million. And now without Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, which I guarantee Xenoblade Definitive Edition will sell at least 1 million copies. It's
at least a
already at
million.
7.17 million right now for Xenoblade on Switch.
Yeah, so I mean that's
That's
that's a
crazy.
great turnaround for, and we've been talking about this for the longest time. You put a series on the Switch, and the switch effect usually means you're usually going to wind up selling a lot more than what you had ever had for the most part in your
Yeah.
past. Like you can even look at. I'm surprised they didn't put this on the graph though, but like Luigi's Mansion, like that series completely blew up with Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, and we just managed to get Luigi's Mansion 2 HD just like a few months ago
Listen,
and stuff. So it's like
there's
it's
there's a
crazy.
there's a ton of franchises that always did well that are just doing better. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. Fire Emblem Three Houses was like the best-selling Fire Emblem game. Just another example.
Yeah,
Compared to, Awakening 2.3 million, Fates 3 million, Three Houses 4.1 million, and then Engage was 1.6 million. That's because it was just like a bit of a lower, it wasn't the next main Fire Emblem.
yeah.
Yeah, but like there's tons of series that Nintendo has gotten off the ground a little bit more, but they still, I don't know, maybe Nintendo just doesn't see value in them, but they kind of just did not touch Star Fox the entire Switch
Uh,
generation. Like
Star
F
Fox
Zero at
Zero
least
was an
got,
abysmal failure.
yeah, F Zero at least got 99 eventually, and F-Zero 99 is great, mind you. So like Nintendo, do you just have no ideas for Star Fox? I could think of multiple. Can't be that hard. Like there's so many other franchises that I guarantee would sell well if they put in the assets.
It is
I
kind
don't
of
know.
shocking they haven't
It is
touched
kind
Star
of
Fox.
late for them to put F-Zero up. Not well, not well. Technically, let's keep it a buck 50, Steven. F-Zero gotten a lot more love on the Switch itself outside of Star Fox. Star Fox had not gotten a fair thing outside of Star Fox 64. Whereas with F-Zero, we are able to play every single F-Zero game plus F-Zero 99 has ever released in the F-Zero series, albeit except for F-Zero GX available on the Switch, mostly all through the NSO servers. That right there is a lot more love that F Zero surprisingly got over something that's like a Star Fox, which we hardly got anything from them. So, you got to take your battles and take your W's when you can get them, though. But like, oh shoot,
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things that we got from this financial report, such as Echoes of Wisdom already doing pretty well. I think it was almost 3 million copies, they said,
2.58 million for Echoes of Wisdom,
which is pretty good. Yeah.
1.94 for Thousand Year Door, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD 1.57.
I'm happy that Thousand Year Door is doing okay.
I want
Not doing great.
confirmation that these games are gonna play better on the Switch too.
They will. Come on.
We don't know that. They
Okay.
could just leave them in the dust and say, yeah, it's backwards compatible, but they're gonna play the same.
We'll
The
see.
new games,
That
however, are
we
gonna
will
look
talk
great.
we will talk about that soon. Yeah, because I got a couple thoughts about that when we get to that segment. If we're just talking about the rest of the financial report, they did say that they were kind of slowing down their prediction for consoles. What was it? Their forecast for consoles during the fiscal year went down to 12.5 million units.
From the
It
original 13.5. They just lowered it down by like 1 million.
Yeah, which is just like a 250,000 per quarter, basically. Probably
Yeah.
just because they're expecting a bit less of a interesting holiday season. Like, yeah, you have a new Mario Party game, and Mario Kart's still doing as good as ever, but it's an undeniable fact that people are waiting for the next system.
Yeah. And even with this year being like a stopgap for the most part, like people know that next console is more than likely coming out next year. The fact that they were able to put out a new first party game, it wasn't necessarily anything as big as like Tears of the Kingdom level though. But the fact you had all of these first party games coming out almost every single month this year, with the exception of either like I think 2 months out of the year, they managed to put something out new almost every single gosh dang
Yeah,
month, and
it
you
was
don't
not
see that mess from Xbox or PlayStation. So
for the
for
people.
for an 8-year old console about to almost about to go into its ninth year,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
for Nintendo's core fans, there was something to enjoy. For more casual audiences, you had like Princess Peach Showtime and something else. Yeah, you had games. Like Nintendo did okay this year. Like it was a perfectly fine year. It was like 2022 almost.
Yeah.
But we'll honestly see. But financial reports look good, and Nintendo seems like they have a good plan going into the Switch 2. Proven by this next thing that we're gonna talk about. Unless you guys have anything else to say.
I had a couple more things I wanted to throw out here, and then I got the little segue transition thing up in there too.
Gotcha,
But
gotcha.
in terms of like the NSO subscription accounts, they did report that there's been 34 million members, and I think year over year it's like slightly down. But I mean, they throw something new in there, like a GameCube or like a Dreamcast or something, and that number is going to go up. And then, even though we know the Switch 2 is going to be coming out some point in 2025, the lineup of games that we already have confirmed, which they kind of gave out a little bit of a, I guess, a title card for it, just to kind of let people know exactly what's coming out. It's crazy. Like you have the Altair games, Dragon Quest 1+2 coming, Suikoden, oh gosh, Hello Kitty, Guardians of Azuma, Pokemon Legends, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, yeah, Civilization 7, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Metroid Prime 4. Like you got some titles coming out next year that
But Metroid
literally.
Prime 4 is like your Breath of the Wild. We are literally having a repeat
Mhm.
year. We were just kind of waiting for Breath of the Wild and the Switch to come out. We're kind of in a similar vein right now, except the Switch is actually a good console. We're just kind of waiting for Switch 2 and we're waiting for Metroid Prime 4. That's the next big thing on the horizon is
So
both of
when are they
those.
announcing the Switch 2?
Tomorrow.
Alrighty.
Tomorrow.
All right, Kyle's impatient over here, so we got to cater to this man real quick, though. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the financial report. So now we're going to go and jump over to the big question that Kyle wants to really get the answer out of. And I don't know if I got all the answers for him, though, but I can restate all the questions though. But yes, they Furukawa also in this business meeting in terms of like doing all their financial reports though. He was willing to throw us at least a little bit of a bone here for us though, and he came out in a statement saying, "Well, it's all crap is always going down whenever they say that they start off the tweet from their business account and they literally say this is Furukawa or this is Miyamoto and this is Mr. Anuma like crap is going down. But anyway, he said at today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch Online will also be available on the successor to the Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to the Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. That's one of your answers right there, Kyle. All right. For Kyle said from the horse's mouth, it will be announced at a later date.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that could be this year.
could
No,
be.
I, I'll
It
go
could,
ahead and I'll go ahead and
listen,
lay down the law. It could be this year, but it doesn't make any sense for them to do it.
I
I'm
don't know.
saying
It
January,
could
February, or March at the latest next year. I think it's the more
listen.
realistic approach.
I think January would make the most sense because they had their original Switch presentation in January. It's not like there's a specific month where they don't like to do news.
I don't know. My gut's leaning
Game
on
Awards.
February.
What
I
about the
think
Game
I
Awards?
think announcement in January, showcase in March, release in May. Kind of follows the same timetable as the Switch 1. Move it forward a bit because I guarantee they want to get the console out before summer.
I say as long as they get the console out before the holiday season, so you can get sell
That's
to your diehards,
well,
and then have
obviously.
enough stock for your casuals around the Black Friday and stuff. I think
Well,
if I were
the,
Nintendo, that's the way I want to sell this stuff.
well, weren't the original rumors a couple months ago coming out that they were like delaying the console to make sure that supply would meet demand,
Oh yeah, I remember
right?
that. Yeah, yeah, that was some
Yeah,
stuff
like
we were
which
going through.
I think Nintendo's smart enough to know that they sell out really quick. I remember during when the Wii came out, that was crazy. Like the
Yeah,
Wii was like the hot item that holiday season, and you could not get one. I don't think Nintendo wants another PS5 situation on their hands.
which no, I don't think that's gonna be the case though. But Kyle, what for Kyle was said, does that please your mind at least a little bit, knowing that you will be able to play your Nintendo Switch games on the Switch too?
So great.
I
Finally,
think it's
confirmation.
Yeah, I think it's nice that I'm not gonna have to buy ports again. That's nice.
I think it's nice to know that I can get rid of my Switch. Not to say I will, but I could replace it. Just get rid of it off my entertainment center. It's the Switch 2, and I could play my Switch 1 games on it, hopefully upgraded. But even if I can't upgrade them, at least I can play my Switch 1 games on it.
I'll hold
That's
on
pretty
to
nice.
my I definitely will hold on to my Switch OLED as like a backup.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, like as much as I want to say in my head, oh, I can't wait to shelve this old one. I wish I had some of my old DSs and 3DSs. You know what I mean? So many
Oh,
people
I
thought when the
regret.
yeah. So like I'm gonna hold on to my Switch OLED because there is gonna be one day where these things are hard to find in good condition.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
regret.
and the fact that they did say that your Nintendo Switch Online stuff is going to carry over as well, so everything from the NES all the way up to the GBA gets to carry over as well. I
Yeah,
think
thank God.
that's perfect because this is gonna be the first time since the Wii generation that we don't have to go back and rebuy the games either from scratch or buy like little small charges that's like an
Yeah.
upgrade to get from Wii to Wii U or nothing like that. Like everything comes over on day one. We're just gonna only build off of it from there. So even Kyle, if you have an extra spare Switch around, if you have a spare TV,
Mm.
just dock that switch somewhere else. So if you casually just wanted to have like one setup that's just for only playing retro games, I mean, you can treat that switch as a secondary switch and then just play only your NES up to GBA games up on that one, or just treat that as like your handheld system to play basic Switch games or something like that. That's what I'll be doing with what? Oh gosh, I think I got 3 switches. Crazily enough, though, but I will be doing it with some of my switches. That rest assured.
I'm gonna want to play my retro games on the new system, though. I'm gonna want to play everything on the new system. I, even if it's not upgraded, just using that new controller, man. I hope they have a new Pro controller and got a little more weight to it. The
Well,
battery life.
we already know, even if the old one, even if the new one is bad, I'm pretty sure the old one will be compatible just because, they said that all Switch games will be compatible, which in my head tells me that all controllers will be compatible. That would be the smartest thing to
Oh yeah.
assume, right?
Yeah, because
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you literally have games. A couple of them come to mind, like Ring Fit Adventure, like using the Joy Cons and stuff like that, and along with Super Mario Party, that first
Yeah,
one. Those
that
you have to use the Joy Cons, and it's like, well, that has to work on the Switch 2 as well. Even if the Switch 2, based on rumors and stuff, might have a bigger screen, so you wouldn't be ideally being able to stick those Joy Cons onto your Switch 2. You have to
Being
be
able to
able
use
to
them.
Yeah, you can still use them up Bluetooth to the system and still use them. Hence, that might be one of the reasons why out of nowhere. Remember, back then, Kyle and Steven, whenever they dropped out that hardware thing where it's like you can charge the Joy Cons and put them on that
Yeah.
little dock thing, and that's weird to put out on the 8th year that the Switch has been on the market. You would expect that to be within the first year or two,
Well,
but to
because
put it
of
out that late, it kind of makes sense.
the way that it looks, I don't know, unless the magnetic rumor with the new Joy-Cons is true, it looks like, if it is just a rail connection for the next system, then maybe the new Joy-Cons will be able to work on this thing too. But we'll see.
I
I
thought
just
the new
yeah, I
Joy-Con are bigger.
well maybe, but like it's the way it's just like a little rail that it slides onto, a little plastic piece. Think it has room. But besides the point, like there are some games that literally need a Joy-Con. It's not like you can do a similar thing with a different controller. The Ring-Con, like the Joy-Con slots into that. WarioWare Move It, the game literally has Joy-Cons all over the place in the game. Like I just feel like it's gonna be a Wii U situation where just all of your Wii stuff is available to use, but of course it's gonna have its own new controller and new Joy-Cons,
Yeah.
which is the best solution, obviously. Like making it so all these controllers I bought are not available in the next system would be insane. Like, when the next Mario Kart comes out, I'll already have how many controllers? No reason to make things overly complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would suck to have to buy a whole bunch
Especially,
of new controllers.
yeah, especially because Nintendo's the only company still doing couch co-op games. Really?
I mean that
Like,
that is one of my annoyances with PlayStation though. It's like it's so weird to throw in a second player, even to play something like as simple as the new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I was trying to play that with my brother and stuff, and I was like, dang, I was like, wait, hold on here. I was like, how do I set this thing up for two people? It's not as easy as the Switch. You have to do this like thing with the guest accounts, or you always have to have like, gosh dang it,
yeah,
yeah.
you have to
PlayStation and
have a
Xbox,
separate account.
they don't play well with that, man. Since Switch is like pass the controller, hit the A button, boom. It's like Nintendo 64 days.
Yeah.
It's like just plug the thing in and you're good to go. Just
Especially
choose the right mode.
Mortal Kombat is miserable. I hate playing Mortal Kombat multiplayer because you have to sign in and then like there's like specific currencies that transfer with the account and I'm like, "Oh my god, I just want to play the game."
Yeah.
Like
So
Smash, you just connect the controller and you're player 2.
yeah, so overall, I will say that I'm glad that they confirmed that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with all the Switch related games. And I'm glad that they said the NSO games are going to be able to carry over as well. So we're not starting off from ground zero again. And I feel like him just putting out that little bit right there was probably just enough to appease the shareholders that he was talking to in those meetings because he knew good and well he wasn't going to announce a system to cannibalize sales for what will be technically the very last season that the Switch will be the only Nintendo console on the market. Before then, Nintendo will probably be in this like limbo period where they're selling two different SKUs. Well, I say two different SKUs. There's technically like what? It'll be four different SKUs between the Switch Lite, the standard base Switch, the OLED, and whatever the Switch 2 would be at that point though. So yeah, honestly, it's some good stuff.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
glad they clarified up that mess though. So that can kind of calm a lot of people's questions for now until like what, Kyle? Like January 1st rolls around and then everybody's gonna start kicking up like, all right, where's the direct? Where's the food over at? Like they're gonna be like scratching their necks over
Well,
here. It's like you got some Switch 2 news and stuff like that, and then the season will start all over again.
well, this is really the
Oh, yeah.
best solution because it's a very similar solution, a very similar thing to what they did when you moved the 3DS from DS, where games still did release on DS for years after the fact. But you could play them on 3DS, so it wasn't really a big deal. It didn't matter. So Nintendo can still keep supporting the old Switch family of systems, and then once the Switch 2 has proven itself to actually have a good install base, they can cut off the rest and move on with Switch 2. I think that's a perfect plan, and I think that's what they'll do. And having backwards compatibility, as basic and as stupid as it sounds, and as much as we should have expected it, it's still a win. Because
Yeah,
Nintendo, they could have been stupid. They could have just done the Wii U again and did exactly the wrong things this entire next generation, but they're proving to be smart and not doing that. Having NSO
I hope.
immediately transferring everything, I think, is the great.
Oh yeah, we already have confirmation on that. So
Because
yeah.
that already confirms a couple things, at least. It already confirms that, uh, it will be called Switch Online still. Like, I think just it being called Switch Online, them saying that Switch Online will be available on the next system, kind of confirms it's just gonna be called Nintendo Switch something. Who knows,
Probably.
though? And then obviously just the fact that all of these other games, I think that's another thing I'm glossing over. Fact that backwards compatibility is confirmed hopefully means that some of these games on Switch, the online servers won't go down for a while,
Oh no, it'll be just like
which is a
rolling
good
over
thing.
from the Wii to the Wii U. It's like, I mean, while the Wii U was the only thing on the market at that
Yeah.
point as a new system, all the Wii stuff was still fine. It still operated the same way.
Now the only thing that's interesting is, are we going to be able to buy all the Switch games on the eShop? Like when
We
you
should
load
be
up your
able
Switch
to.
like when you load up your Switch 2, will the eShop be full of Switch games? I
I
don't
mean,
think they'd
I
want
don't know how
that.
they will categorize that. There might be a toggle that says switch to. It's kind of like the same thing as like when you pull up the PS5 shop, or I said PS5, the PlayStation store. Yes,
Yeah.
whenever you pull that up, you're going to see PS5 games and PS4. You can categorize a thing like that, but I'm expecting a similar experience like that.
I'd
Oh, that
hope
makes
so, cause
sense.
yeah, like that did it basically fine. Like my PS5 was a great way to play my PS4 games easy, but like we'll see because
I mean, that kind of brings into play. I bet you that's how they'll upgrade the Switch games too. Some of them will get upgrades, some of them won't, and the ones that don't are just going to show Switch, and the ones that do, it'll have the new title on there, so you could download that version. It'll probably cost a little bit more memory.
oh, so like
You're a little bit more taxing on the memory, but
I'm imagining something like the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, where there were Game Boy games that got enhanced on Game Boy Color, and then there were some
Oh,
games that were only on Game Boy Color.
you know
So
what?
like
That
on
yeah.
the
I didn't even think about
box
that.
there will be some kind of symbol to show that it has enhancements with the next generation Switch. But then
That
there
would
will be games that are specifically labeled, maybe with a different colored box, that they will be for Switch 2.
like only for Switch too, kind of like
Which
they did for Game Boy
if
Advance.
I had to make a prediction right now, it will be a white logo with a red text being the exact opposite of the Switch logo. Make it contrast.
Oh, that's what
That's
you're.
my guess.
Okay,
'Cause-
if you're doing that, I was like, we're not going
like
back to the white, pure white, because that was Wii, and I don't
no,
think we're doing
that
blue
was
because that was Wii
3DS.
U. Um,
3DS was pure white. Even the cartridges.
no. I mean, most of the branding for the Wii was primarily white. That's what I was talking about. Just console wise, I wasn't talking about the handhelds only. But
Yeah.
if I were to pick a color, maybe it would be. My gut was kind of saying orange, but ain't that kind of close to I don't know. But anyway, though, in terms of all
Who
that
knows?
Switch 2 stuff,
Uh
it's pretty good that we at least have this though. And I'm looking down at the clock. We're gonna have to start rolling this mess on ahead. Was
yeah.
there something else you were
One
about to
last
say, Steven?
question.
Go ahead.
Yes, one last question I'll ask both of you guys. Do you think there's a possibility that they're gonna actually pull out some bad news and say that the backwards compatibility is only for digital games and that your physical
No,
cartridges will not work?
that's got to be digital and physical because of the fact that Nintendo, unlike the competition, they rely pretty heavily on their physical sales as well. Like a lot of people buy the cartridges, and they
You
still
think so
have
as
quite a
well,
bit of
Kyle?
people buying digital.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. They're not going to get rid of their physical.
I just wanted to make sure because a lot of people were kind of like, "Oh my God, you only confirmed this, but you were very vague. You didn't confirm that it'll be physical as well." Like
Look,
people
those
just
are
want
just people
reasons
that
to be
just want to
worried.
talk. That's just
Yeah,
reasons for people to
They don't
talk.
want
That's
to
all
give out
that
too
is.
much information.
I'm like, "Oh my God, shut up!" They announced that no matter what, you'll be able to play Switch games on Switch too. Be happy. But yeah,
Yep.
it's great news, and I guarantee we're gonna find more. We're gonna find out little by little more details about it, or it's just gonna actually fully leak.
Yeah,
All
hopefully it
right.
just fully leaks.
Yeah. All right, well, that's gonna do it in terms of the Switch 2 stuff. And while yes, this one next segment could be easily outdated within I'm talking about less than like probably 12 hours from yeah, less than 12 hours from now. But
Yeah.
I figure we'll just go ahead and throw this out in the realm while we're all here. We know the Game Award nominations is going to be happening tomorrow at the time of this live broadcast we're doing right now, and I just wanted to kind of fill out the room here. How we all feeling in terms of the? We'll just keep it simple. The Game Award nominations for the Game of the Year category. That's all we're going to talk about. Normally, there's always 6 slots. So I'm going to start off with Kyle, unless he needs a little bit more time. What would be the 6 games you think are going to get nominated for Game of the Year?
6 games. Ugh, I'm gonna have trouble just coming up with 2.
Two.
Uh,
Oh, God.
what came out this year? Yeah,
Remember,
skip me.
because of the new rule that they have stated, DLC expansions by themselves will be eligible for Game of the Year.
Okay.
Meaning Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree will definitely win.
No, I don't think they're going to do nothing like that.
Jeff Keighley is a major fucking bias for that game.
Hey, but he has the
We'll
panel
see.
of the people, and the panel of the people is really the ones that have to make the decision, not necessarily him. But you got your
The
you
quote
got your
unquote
list.
panel of the quote unquote
I know
people,
I'm
yes.
saying the quote unquote panel. I mean that is true, but
Like I don't really believe that there's like a jury. And if there is a jury, I don't fully believe that they're not influenced at all by Jeff Keighley's decisions and money from studios being like, we need Game of the Year on the box. Can you guys just like our game more?
mm,
Oh, I'm very biased, but I do think Sonic and Shadow Generations need to be up there because the Shadow portion was just so damn good.
Well, I think it should be nominated for something, definitely.
all right. So you got
I don't
Sonic
know
X
what it
Shadow
would be nominated.
Generations for number one.
Dragon Ball Sparking.
I like that. Dragon Ball Sparking. All right, what
That
else?
should definitely go up there. Mario and Luigi. Well, I don't know if that would be up there because
No.
no, I'm not gonna
Like
put that up
best
there.
family game, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, I can
I
see
wouldn't
that
even do
one being
that.
there.
This is a single player game.
Hey, there's been a lot of single player games get best family game of the years
Yeah,
in times
Nintendo
past.
kind
I
of
think
dominates best family.
Pikmin 4 is like one of those things. I guess technically there's a 2-player mode up in there though, but still.
Yeah, but like no one played it.
Super Mario Party Jamboree, I think, would be a better fit for the family game though
Well,
because
yeah, definitely
it
will.
came out
I
the
think
same
that will
year.
definitely win best family. We'll
Yeah,
see.
throw that one in there.
There's a lot of games I forgot released. Like, I gotta be completely honest with you.
Got any other
Man,
ones on that list, Kyle?
that's the only one. I'm looking up a different list real quick, see if I can find something else.
So
Maybe I
should I
missed.
say the ones that I think
Yeah, go ahead
are
Yeah.
then,
gonna win?
Steven.
All right. As much as I really, really don't want it to be on, we're talking about Game of the Year, by the way, right?
Yeah, Game of the Year
Yep.
As
nominations, so the
as much as
6.
I really don't want it to win because of that new rule, I think Last of Us Part 2 Remastered will be on there.
Oh heck no.
No,
All right, well keep going.
I don't want it, obviously.
I don't think it'll be on there.
All right. It's a toss between Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor for that next slot.
Okay.
Helldivers 2
Oh
is
yeah,
like a
Helldivers.
maybe. I'll go with
Okay.
Helldivers 2, yeah. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth will definitely be there.
Yeah, I think that's a solid.
So that's 4 so far. I'm completely skipping Dragon's Dogma 2 because I heard nothing about that game.
Some people have it on their
Um,
list, but
Stellar Blade could be nominated for Best Action Adventure, but I don't think it's gonna get nominated for Game of the Year.
hmm.
Astrobot's already gonna be on this list, so I only have one spot left really.
All right.
Which Hellblade 2 came out, no one talked about. Thousand Year Door came out, but that's not gonna get nominated for anything, sadly.
Nah.
Um, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance will probably be in the, like Best RPG. Okay.
You
I'm
having
just going
trouble
down
with
the
that
list.
6th one, huh?
I'm just looking at July. Well, no. If I had to pick what I think they'll do for the sixth one, it would definitely be like, I don't know, it'd be something that came out recently, like Dragon Age or something stupid like that, as much as I don't really care about that.
Hmm.
Or like I said, Elden Ring DLC with that. Why else would they introduce that new rules art unless they planned on something winning? You know what I mean? Why would they introduce a rule specifically to make DLCs eligible? That only is because of Elden Ring. Because Elden Ring came out last year, and Elden Ring came out, was it 2022 or 2023? Elden
Came
Ring
out
came
last
out.
year. I think
It won
last year.
Game of the Year. It won Game of the Year, and now they are only introducing this new rule because they just want to give it another win. Because From Software is probably like sucking them dry,
I
honestly,
don't
over
see
there.
them getting another win like that. That just feels like a.
What?
I don't see that happening.
I hope no. I
I
don't
don't
know.
see it happening either.
Just knowing how boring Game of the Year nominations have been recently, I don't know. Game Awards in general has had its weird moments. Remember last year, the please wrap it up stuff and Kojima for 10 minutes talking about nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rest of this list. There really was nothing else I could truly call big unless they're going to give Tekken 8 a Game of the Year slot, which Tekken 8 will definitely probably win Best Fighting Game, but still.
All right. So it sounds like you got your six. So say them again so that way I can remember them real quick.
Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
You said
Sorry, I'm
Helldivers 2, right?
Helldivers 2, and then the other one was really close to the beginning of the year. Persona 3 Reload or Metaphor,
Pick one or
one
the
of
other.
them.
Which one?
Metaphor is a new game, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. All right. That's not a bad list. And you have some that I was thinking of. All right. So let me lay down the law because these three, they're going to be in there no matter what. I'm almost willing to bet on it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Astrobot, and Metaphor
Yeah,
Refan to Zero. Those are the three confirmed locks. I feel like 100% it's gonna be in there for those top three because a lot of people have been buzzing about those. And out of those three, I played two. I want to play Metaphor Refan to Zero, but I just ain't got the time to sit down with oh gosh, it's like 70, almost an 80-hour RPG. I'm gonna try to clear out some room maybe to play that in December though. But I easily can see all three of those there. These next three are the ones I'm always been kind of thinking and tinkering about because some of this you have to base it on the Metacritic scores because usually the ones that are ranked the highest are the ones that usually happen to stick though. So I'm just thinking, usually there's always one indie game that usually gets nominated. So I'm gonna go ahead and make Animal Well as that one because that one's ranked at a
that's a good
91 in
one.
terms of the Metacritic. So there's four of them right there. Now you get down to the last two. I'm gonna Normally fighting games don't normally get nominated into this list though, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. I'm gonna say Tekken 8 is gonna be choice number 5, and I think choice number 6 is going to be Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth coming in at an 89 on the Metacritic. So those are my six. So once again, Astrobot, Metaphor Re Fantasy Zero, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are the three solid locks. The indie game will be Animal Well. And then 5 and 6 was Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. A lot of love for the RPGs this time of year, though. But I think that's where my six is currently standing at.
Infinite Wealth is a good choice that I wasn't really thinking about.
Yeah, because I mean that game came out. What was it? January? Was it January or February? That
It
early
was
on in the
early
year.
on. I think it was February.
And I know some people like to say, "Oh, recency bias" with some of those judges. Yeah, that might play a small little
Yes,
factor though. But yeah.
definitely.
All right, Kyle. You mentioned two before. Did you think of four other ones, or based upon what me and Steven said?
Um, Honestly, I'm probably gonna have to go with the same ones. The only ones that I weren't the only one that I wasn't really familiar with that I probably don't agree with was the Persona game because I haven't touched it before, the Persona 3 one. So substitute that with the Sonic Generations game, and then everything else is the same.
As my list or his list?
His list.
Oh, okay. Hmm. I if I were to substitute one of those other six I would have set out, then maybe I would have took back Tekken 8 and put no. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Take back my thought on Tekken 8 or subbing that out and putting Helldivers 2 in. At least now I feel like I might be able to get 5 of these jokers right. So everything else, that's what I said, but Helldivers 2 instead of Tekken 8. I think that's gonna be it. Because they always pull something funky with the fighting games every year. Fighting the sport and racing games, they just don't do that well unless you're Smash Brothers. All right. Well, I think that's it in terms of our nominations. We'll see if all of that stuff happens to hold up. When honestly, we'll know as soon as like tomorrow for some of us, as soon as we wake up, or once we're a little bit into our work days and stuff. We'll see where we happen to land out on it though. But we should know about those results here really quick. So this is like part one of the Game Awards. I guess what am I going to dub this as, Steven? The Game Awards discussions or whatever. So this is like the pre show. The next time we're here on the episode, I don't think the Game Awards will happen yet, but it will be like once we have all the nominations. So we'll go through and talk about all of those in the next episode. And in the episode after that, that's when we'll have all the winners. So then we have to talk about that in the announcements and stuff, though. So we're about to get to the busier side of the season in terms of, just trying to wrap things up for the year, though. But some cool, maybe fun, maybe some exciting. Maybe we'll get a lot more memes out of this show this year. Who's to say though? Hopefully nobody jumps that stage, Kyle, because we if we get somebody else that what was it, that Bill Clinton kid? Was that last year or was that year before?
No, that was last year. He was trying to
Oh,
get in, and
oh,
like they upped security because what was it during Summer Games Fest, or there was no, it was Game Awards the year before
It
he
was
got
the
on.
year before.
oh,
It
the
was
year
Yeah.
before.
2020,
Okay.
2022. He got on stage and was talking about Bill Clinton and GTA 6. It was really funny.
That
Um,
was hilarious, dude. I need to look that
Uh,
up.
we were all
uh,
looking at each other like, what the heck is going on?
Like,
I
is
I
this
I
scripted?
think I think I went to go do something quick, and I got back, and everyone was like freaking out in VC, and I was like, okay, what did I miss? New announcement? And they're like, no, you cannot believe what just happened. And I looked it up.
Oh gosh, that's the craziest ever. All righty, well that's gonna actually that is it in terms of all the different gaming news stuff that we had to talk about and discuss. We're getting close to the end of the show, but we're gonna squeeze these last two in. Gosh dang it though, because we got to talk about a couple of these games though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump up into what we've been playing. Dang it, I played a stupid wrong animation. I meant to hit this one. Alrighty, so now we got to talk about Mario and Luigi Brothership. Honestly, Kyle, I can't remember if I said this to you or not, but it literally should have been called Mario and Luigi
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. It should have been called Brotherhood. That's a
But
good
they're on a
title, ain't
ship.
it? I know they're on the ship, but I'm like, man, they really could have took advantage of that name. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
but
though.
I know, but like they could use it eventually, Zard.
Oh goodness. Well, anyway, though, the game is out. I put a few hours up in here, and so far, I say the game is enjoyable. My own hindrance with this game is the fact that all the load times or the transitions of the screens, or you trying to be on the ship and then trying to wait for a period of time before trying to shoot yourself over to another island.
Like waiting
I
for
th-
the current to sail.
yeah, I think
You
that's
do
my
get
major pet peeve in this game. Everything else is fine. Well, that
so
and taking so long to get the brothers moves.
like they mostly do that just to get you to do side quests while you're waiting to sail to the next island, which it's fun the first time. And that's the only time I actually liked it. You do unlock faster sailing, like much faster. You'll see.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Like,
good to know.
but my main complaint, and especially Sanicu's main complaint, is that the game, from what I've heard, is extremely long. Like longer than you'd expect from a Mario and Luigi game. Like 35 hours long.
That is really, really long. And I also heard that it's not as good as Dream Team or Partners in Time, which kind of
Oh,
worries
I
me.
can I can
I
tell you this right now, Kyle. Based on the first 3 hours, it is not as good as as Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. I just think there was a lot more mechanics in that game going
Alright,
on, and the fact you can get in and out of battles so much faster in that game, or
Oh yeah.
any game prior to this
listen,
game, really, to be honest.
everyone rags on Dream Team because of its tutorials, but Mario and Luigi Dream Team is still a fantastic game.
I
Um,
love Dream Team.
I personally think that this game right now, which I'm about, I think maybe 8 hours in, is Dream Team levels. Like it's not as nearly as good as the first three games, but it's so much better than Paper Jam and fucking. It's just on the same level as Dream Team. So like, definitely, it's not my favorite Mario and Luigi so far, but it doesn't have to be my favorite. This
I
is
don't
the
like the
series.
story though. The story looks kind of lame. Or is it
I
good?
am listen. I think it's intriguing so far, but that's just because there's like a mystery of like who done it. Without saying much, there's like a who done it, like what happened to this world. We got to fix it. But
Yeah.
listen, it's probably not going to be that complex. It's a fucking Mario game after all. I'm
But
just
all the
excited to
other
see the
ones
fun
are
Not really.
kinda. Dream Team was fun. I liked that one with
Well,
the.
yeah, Well, that's because Dream Team is definitely the longest game besides this one.
And I gotta say, this is going to like even more off track, but I gotta ask. When Dream Team came out, were any of you expecting Wart to make a return?
No, we're not talking about this. You and your wart.
Nah,
Oh,
nah, but
I
come
can't
on.
say
For
I
Dream
can't say
Team,
I
it
can't
did
say
make a
anything
lot of
about it, Kyle, because out of all the Mario and Luigi games, that's the only one I haven't played. I played
Oh my
every other
God,
one
Zard,
but that one.
fun. It's so
play
good.
it. Listen, at least for me, no matter if I'm liking it or hating it or this and that, which I'm not hating it. I am liking the game so far, but it definitely could be better. Um, I'm just happy that I can say I have all of these games physically on my shelf next to each other now. And oh my God, I'm so glad the series
Wait,
is
you
back.
had the first one on GBA?
No, I have the 3DS version, but I could buy the GBA one for
Oh, I was about to say
$20.
that's not all of them technically. Well, okay,
I could
whatever.
Yes, but either way, like I'm glad the series is back, and this game visually, besides the couple frame rate issues, is amazing. Like the
Partners
art
in Time
style.
deserves a remake.
Yes, so I'm just saying, have you
I'm
seen how
so
this game
upset
looks,
they
Kyle?
skipped that one. I'm just
I know. The art style in this game, Kyle, is so damn nice. And the animations, mwah,
Yeah, I
incredible.
take back what I said about like how it looks like a 3DS game. It definitely looks nice. It looks
yeah,
Yeah,
the
you
art
did
style
say
is
that.
great. I like that. Like even that opening cutscene and stuff they show at the very
And they
beginning.
used very good advantage of the camera, but I don't know if this bothered you. My main thing, this is really the only other
I
thing I'm
wish I
gonna
could
bring
see
up about
more of
the game.
the world while you're running around,
Yeah.
just in the overworld. That's
We
my
are
only other
definitely
thing.
we are definitely going to talk about this game in the next podcast when we've probably beaten it. But oh my God, Zard, how annoying is it that with Luigi you don't confirm shit with B?
Oh my gosh. I that tripped me up for the first couple hours while I was playing that game. It's like there was a lot of things I wanted just to hit B. And I was like, I'm pretty sure, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting stuff. Every single Mario and Luigi game prior to this one, I can't vouch for Dream Team, but at least in, Superstars, Partners in Time, Bowser Inside Story, all of that stuff was confirmed with B with Luigi. So that way, whenever you did your action commands and stuff and you timed it right, you were still able to do all of that. So it just made sense. And I guess when you went back, you just did the reverse, either A for Luigi or like B for Mario or whatever, though. But I'm just surprised they didn't stick with that mess. That threw me for a loop.
Yeah, it's annoying as hell. I'm still messing it up like 8 hours into the game.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, Kyle, are you gonna go out and get this game?
I'm thinking about it. It's just trying to I'm still recovering from buying the PC parts. Next paycheck
I would say
possibly, but I got Christmas coming up, so
maybe wait and
I
see if
got.
it's going to be enhanced on Switch too, because it's a inconsistent. I'll tell you right now, you might not enjoy it because it's an inconsistent 30 FPS.
Yeah, that kind of bites. If they see, I'm trying to keep my hopes real low because I have a feeling what's going to happen is most of their Switch library is just going to be available, kind of like how the Wii games were available on the Wii U, but like they didn't play better, you know?
Yeah,
They
but
were
the
just
difference is that the Wii games you couldn't even really buy those on the shop at first. Like, this was before all games were available immediately. Like, these games are still gonna be available for actual sale, you know what I mean?
Right, that I still feel like they're just gonna play like they play on the Switch, though. I don't
We'll
see them
see.
going out of their way saying, "All right, Switch 2 owners, here you go. They play better." I only see them doing that with a select few titles, like Mario Kart 8, maybe, but probably not even that. They're probably gonna say no, Mario Kart 10. Like that's the only one that's gonna play better. And then same with like Zelda. I don't see them going out of their way to make Tears of the Kingdom play
Okay, well,
better. They're just gonna make a new
to be
Zelda.
fair, Mario Kart plays flawlessly on Switch.
You're right. That was a poor example, but like Hyrule Warriors, for example, I
Yeah,
don't think
Age
I
of
see them
Calamity.
going out of their way and making it play better. I think it's still going to play like a slideshow on the Switch too. They're just going to make
Oh
a
no,
new
no, that's
Hyrule Warriors.
no, no, no. If they said that they either make dedicated versions, like with PlayStation, where they're like, "Hey, we made a dedicated PS5 version to take advantage of this," or if, especially if Nintendo was like, "Hey, we're not going to just do these $10 upgrades for this." Let's just say across the board, they said a lot of your Switch games will just run naturally a little bit better. Age of Calamity will be like one of the first games I'm going to fire up and check because that's like the one that stood out to me the most where it's like, okay, I can see these performance issues and stuff. So if they do something like that, that'll be one of the first games I'm gonna go through and check.
I really
That'll
hope
give you
they
your
do it.
confirmation.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, was there anything else, Steven or Kyle, y'all wanted to say on the Brotherhood? I feel like we're still somewhat kind of early in for me to really tear into this, but that was just kind of my opening impressions, really.
I got not as much as I would expect to say because I'm still pretty early, Zard. I'm in
Oh, okay. So
Ocean
we're kind of
2, which
okay.
there's
Yeah,
5 oceans in the game.
I think you're a little bit ahead of me,
I
but I
am.
don't know how much ahead of me you
Have
kind of
you
are.
faced your first boss on the
Yes, I
first
I fa- I
lighthouse?
faced I
Oh
faced
no,
the first boss. Oh,
no, have you
lighthouse. No, not on
no,
the
then yeah,
lighthouse.
I'm further. Your lighthouses are like your true boss, like your castles or something.
Wait, okay, hold on here. Uh, let me. I feel like something happened on Twitter. I feel like something happened on Twitter.
What do you mean something happened on Twitter?
One of my friends is messaging me right now, and I'm trying to figure out if it's something noteworthy that. Uh,
I'm I'm checking
oh,
Twitter. I
okay.
don't see anything.
Oh, okay. Oh, not within the gaming sphere, but more so on the pop culture side of things, though. It's
Yeah.
like, I guess it's like the halftime show or whatever. Man, he almost had me for a second. I literally thought it was something
Dude,
breaking within
Switch
the
2
gaming
announced right
sphere.
now.
Not that it Switch 2 would have been announced, but like
God.
even if it was something minor, like an NSO game got dropped or something. I was about to say, I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck? All right, but
God, just
anyway,
just fucking imagine. Imagine we were doing this podcast and Nintendo just tweeted out about Switch 2 or something. That'd be crazy.
if they did that, that would have been an extra half hour or 45 minutes on the show. I'd have been like, crap. But anyway, though, I think that's gonna basically do it in terms of the Mario and Luigi Brothership stuff. So we'll talk about this one last game, and yes, I'm referring to Dragon Quest III HD2D because this game did come out on my birthday, so I was thankful for that. Because
Oh, happy belated birthday. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was your birthday.
Happy
oh
late
yeah,
birthday again.
it was on the 14th, so I was like, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, oh goodness, you know how aging is, man. Though, but it's like, man, it's
Sucks.
another part of life though, but still going strong over here. But Best Buy had my back because they had a special deal where it was like buy two get one free, and that was like a couple of months ago, and that worked with pre-orders. So technically, this game counted as my free game, so I didn't have to. I picked it up, but I didn't have to pay a single cent for it though. So overall, I've been enjoying the game. I hadn't really got super deep up in this game. Same thing like with what was it, the Mario and Luigi Brothership game, but I love the atmosphere and the environments that we've been getting out of this game. Like the game looks beautiful. It runs
With
really
Dragon
good.
Quest, right?
Yeah, for Dragon Quest 3 HD2D. The game looks good. It runs beautiful. It's everything I expect out of an HD2D game. But whole shoot, when you talk about an RPG, It doesn't get much more classic than this, and I'm talking about traditional old grinding and stuff. Thankfully, you have speed up option and stuff like that though. But I already got my butt handed to me a couple of times where it's like, crap. I had 2 units that died. I had to haul tail, get out of the dungeon I was in, and make my way to the nearest town. Go back into the church and say, "Hey, look, you need to pump up my man over here and pump up my woman because that they dead and they're laying in coffins and stuff." Like literally, they're like pixel versions, like coffins, and they just kind of follow behind whoever your ringleader is, though. And I was like, oh my goodness, though. But outside of that, I like some of the quality of life stuff because I think both of y'all must have played like classic RPGs where it was like I'm talking about like NES classic, where it's like
Yeah.
you know what you're supposed to do, you just don't know where the heck you're supposed to do it at. Like I
Like, oh,
experienced that in
I
like
have
in
this
Final Fantasy
item,
1, and that was terrible. And you had to
but
whip out the guides.
do you mean situations where you're given an item but you just don't know where to use it, so you go back
I
to
mean,
every
it could
fucking
be
town?
that or the next mission point where it's like, all right, you know what you need to do, but you don't know where it's at
I
or
had that
what
happen in
conditions will
Pokemon
make it
once.
unlock. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of that that normally would happen in this game, but now they gave the quality of life thing where it's like, hey, if you get close enough in the overworld, then it will like show a big old circle saying, hey, this is where you're supposed to go. And man, oh man, I really appreciate that because this game is technically it's not terribly long, but it's long enough. I think it's Sonic. You said it's like in the range of like 40-ish hours or something like that for you to go through and
Oh
beat.
shit.
So yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Some of it is just literally trying to raise your levels up and get like I need to do a little bit of grinding before I go back in that dungeon because they kind of whip my character's butts a little bit though. My main character, Erdrick, he was cool. Like I got him somewhat leveled up pretty good, but the rest of your party CPU members or whatever, that they start off on level 1. They're kind of trash, so you got to level them up. But yeah, I think outside of that, that's all I can say on this game thus far. I'll probably have a lot more to say on it in upcoming episodes when I got a little bit more time and I've been playing the game a little bit more so. But was there anything you wanted to say, Steven or Kyle? If you got Dragon Quest questions.
Alright, so
I'm still
Kyle,
working on 11, but maybe
yeah,
after 11 I'll play 3.
How far
if
did you get in 11?
I got about
he,
an hour in.
yeah, he,
Oh gosh, come on, Kyle. Wait, what were you playing it on?
To be fair, this was like right in the middle of building my PC and I'm playing on my
yeah,
PS5, but now that
the,
I've got my PC built, I'm just going to buy it on PC when it goes on sale and start a new game.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. So were you playing it on PC originally, or were you playing it
PS5, I
on?
think.
Oh, PS5.
PS5. Yep.
Oh, but it was
I
Dragon
might
Quest
just
S,
continue.
right? It was the
Yeah.
S. Okay, okay.
Yep. Exactly. And same goes for Persona. Like I really want to go back and play these games because I've heard nothing but good things about Persona 5 and it's like, well, maybe one of these days. And now that I got the PC, I want everything to be all in one. So it's like I want to play it on the PC. It sounds
Yeah,
good.
just pick up Royal. That's what I recommend. Is pick up Royal, and you're doing yourself a great service.
Yeah.
I can see you liking Persona. One of these days, or at some point, you just got to send me a picture of like most of the games you own. And I feel like it's kind of like, not necessarily judging the book by its cover, but based on the games that you have, if I see all of that, then I can kind of know exactly what you might be able to like and what you might not like.
Oh, I
So I
got
can
you.
give
Check
you a
this
lot more
out.
recommendations.
Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, every single Sonic game and every single Mario game. That's basically my library. Like
What the heck?
I don't play games, man. It's terrible. I need to like I've never played Ocarina of Time all the way
Wait,
through.
say that
Isn't that
again. You
What
said
terrible?
the
Metroid
fuck?
Prime 1, 2, 3, all the Sonic games, and what was the other one? And Mario
All the
games, and that's
Mario
All
it?
games.
the Mario game. Oh, and I played Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. So I got a couple games here and there that I've played, like
Oh
Fall Guys.
shoot. You
Kyle,
are an
you
infant in
fucking
terms of RPGs. Oh
Oh,
shoot,
I
man, I'm
played Sea of
kind of
Stars.
jealous.
I beat Sea of Stars. I beat all the Pokemon games, except for like a select few. I don't know. Like if you name a few games here and there, it's like, oh yeah, I've played that. Like I don't want to act like I've never played games, but if you take like classics like Ocarina of Time, yeah, man, I've never beaten it. It's terrible. Like I
Gosh
shouldn't. That
dang.
shouldn't be legal, but it's true. I need to beat it.
And I just recently beat Pizza Tower. I want to go back and 100% it. And then I promised I was gonna beat Dragon Quest because Santa Q was telling me it's like 10 out of 10. So I'm like, all right, I'll beat that one. But I find myself constantly just going back and playing Sonic games because that's my shit. My
Did you already beat Shadow Generations like 4 times, or you were still working
No,
on
I
it?
still need to beat it on Xbox and the Epic Game Store, but I am so damn sick of it. The only thing I want to do on that game is just beat your online records. Those are
Hold on,
that's fun.
y'all
What,
keep talking. I
mine?
gotta use the restroom real quick, but y'all keep talking.
What do you
All
mean
right.
my online records? Have you been
You're the
trying?
only competitor on my friends list. Everyone else is non-existent.
Oh,
Nobody
so
either
have I?
nobody has the game or nobody uses the online mode.
Oh fuck! Thank you for telling me. Now I'll keep. Now I'll have to go back and do all of them again.
Yeah, go back. And then every once in a while I'll go, well, yeah, shoot me a message if you ever beat one, because then I'll know to go back on.
So let me
Or
guess,
just
you've
don't
already
tell me.
beaten all of them.
What?
Let me guess, you've already beaten all of them.
I mean, I've beaten all of your times, but I have not
God.
beaten all of the stages because some of them you didn't even beat. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother. Because I'm
Well, then there
sick of the
you
game.
go.
But if you beat my time, then it's like, well,
You beat my Sunset Heights Act 1 record. What the fuck?
I did.
I actually tried for that one.
You didn't try on the other one? Some of them a struggle. But yeah, no,
But you
Sunset Heights.
specifically did it just to beat mine?
Yes.
Oh, I guess Space Colony Arc Act 1 I tried.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That was the one that I needed to try like 3 or 4 times to beat the time. Ooh.
yeah. Oh
Kingdom
boy.
Valley was I was like really struggling to beat my own time the other day. I was like, "Holy shit, how did I get this time?" I was like
That
really
probably my
struggling.
favorite course in that game.
It is
Zard's got to
so
play
good.
this damn game. He's got to play Shadow Generations. It's so good.
Oh no, I'll play it
Never.
at some point. I'm just waiting for a good sale, which we didn't even talk about Black
You'll get
Friday stuff,
one.
which we'll talk about in the next episode because I think I'm looking
It
at the
will be right
calendar.
after Black Friday.
Oh yes, we'll be talking about pickups and stuff that we got though. But that's one of the ones that and Metaphor Refantasy Zero are like the couple of games I'm trying to keep an eye out on. I already got my SSD for my ROG Ally, which I talked about earlier in the show. That was like Black Friday pickup number one. But yeah, there's a
And
couple
keep in
other things I'm
mind,
looking for.
we also have the Steam Winter Sale if you miss out on Black Friday.
That too.
That'll be coming up what, in December?
Yeah. Because I think they do something right around Black Friday, but then like what you said, I think they do it. It's almost close around the Game Awards time frame or something like that. But yeah. Whew, all right. Was there anything else on Dragon Quest?
I bought it, so I've already contributed to a good cause, and I will play it soon.
I really want to play it. It looks beautiful. Love the art style. But I got to play 11 first because it's canonical. It's first, right?
It's
So,
the
Yeah,
first one.
it's kind of
yeah.
funny because Dragon Quest was a series I never played before, and I played 11, which is canonically it's the first one in the timeline. And the same thing happened with me with the Legend of Zelda series back in the Wii back in the day. I never played any Zelda game up until that point, and then I played Skyward Sword, which was technically the first one in its timeline. No, so I was like, if I'm basing stuff upon that, I know I got myself in a good series because whole shoot, the rest is history for the Zelda series at least. And I'm gonna slowly work my way through all these Dragon Quest games. I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna do 1 and 2. I already have 7 and 8 on the 3DS. I'll get around to those some point, but yeah.
Five. Have fun picking up that game physically.
Oh, well, I'll jump to that bridge when I get to it though, because Sonic, you already told me about that mess.
$200 fee to jump off that bridge.
Oh goodness.
You've
Yeah.
bought worse. You bought fucking Fire Emblem
But
Revelations for
but
$600.
that's a beautiful investment right there. I
I
have to
didn't say
say.
it wasn't. I know it's a really rare game. I'm just saying, if you could buy that for a series you like, you should have no problem with this.
Okay.
Alright, but yeah, that's all I had to say about Dragon Quest. I cannot wait to play more. Well, I can't wait to start it. I haven't started it yet, but I can't wait to start it.
All righty. Well, honestly, that's all the topics that I had to talk about in my ZardCast episode 92. So once again, I want to thank Kyle for joining me on the show, or joining us. I shouldn't just say me, joining us on the show. And
Thanks
we
for
had a good
inviting me. It was
time
fun.
with you here.
Yeah, no. If you all have another one, you want me to be a part of it, I'll see if I can join. I just obviously have to check my schedule, make sure it aligns so the baby is taken care of. But yeah, it was fun.
All righty, man. Well, I usually do my outros and tell the people where they can find you at, though. So if you had a Twitter or something, then you could spill that out. Otherwise, this is Kyle.
Yeah, find me at Boyle Voices on YouTube. I do Eggman and Mephiles impersonations. It's fun.
All right, all right. So make sure to check him out there. And then Steven, I'll let the fine people know where they can find you at.
So you can find me on Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231, or you can find me on a collab channel I do with some friends, Spaghetti Disco on YouTube. Can I just mention one thing uh, before we end the show?
All righty, man.
Because I know you got rid of the what you watching segment or whatever it was called.
It's not so much I got rid of it. It's more so the fact that people like you keep talking so much. I was like, I can't
That's
roll through
fair.
these topics. But
That's
yeah, go
completely
ahead.
fair.
Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. I recently watched all of the Transformers movies within the span of 5 days. Kyle was there for some of them. My God, I implore everyone watching the podcast to watch the at least Transformers 1 through 3 because they are some insane goddamn movies and they are so funny at points.
Yeah,
Like
I'd say 1 through 3 is worth watching.
one through 3 are definitely worth a watch. Just as really fun popcorn flicks. Just don't
Corn,
think about
fine.
it. Just
Just
keep eating
do
the
it.
popcorn. It's really fun. And like I actually fucking bought Transformers toys because I've been so hyper fixated recently.
See now this is funny. This man has been on this fix for Transformers after Sonic you got him to watch. Well, not
Transformers 1.
yeah, Transformers One, which is the most
I what
recent
can I
one that was
say?
animated and all of that though. But it's funny, Kyle, because I'm looking over here at you and I'm like, he completely missed that generations when we were growing up with that mess and messing around with the toys and
Well,
stuff,
guess
and that was
what?
the hot
Now I
mess. And now it's just funny seeing him as like a younger generation talking about this
listen,
mess. I'm like,
Zard.
bro.
I wish I was born about 10 years earlier because I could have been growing up with fucking N64 or GameCube as like me when I was going into high school. Having that be the generation that was out would have been awesome.
It was awesome. It,
I
it
know.
was. It was
Yeah,
amazing. But
but
I mean, at least you have access to all of this, and you're not like, ew, it's old, and you don't touch it. Like you respect it and you like it, and you still play them. So I mean,
people at
get
my
it.
job are like people at my job are all graphics this, graphics that. You know, it's an old system. Why would you ever want to play it? I'm like, oh my god.
The graphics were great back then.
Yeah,
You have to plug yourself into 2001 and just be like, all right,
yeah,
this is the
This
time.
is just a law. This is just how it is.
Yes.
yeah. But it was a good time
I will
and
say I had a
watch those
lot of
movies.
trouble going back to Paper Mario because Paper Mario 2 was my first game because I didn't bother with the first one. I was like,
Yeah,
what? You talk
you
to
don't really
people
need
and you
to.
don't just jump on them? I don't care about this, but yeah, it looks dated, but it don't matter. It don't matter how dated it looks. The
You
fact is,
talk
it's
to
got
people.
soul. My bad.
Yeah, I got
Uh,
you though. All right, but yeah, that was all I wanted to say. Watch the Transformers movies.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it from him. I guess go watch it if you hadn't. I guess that implies to me. I just hadn't taken the time to do it. I'm just waiting for that disc to come to a regular streaming service before I watch it. All right. Well,
On
anyway.
Paramount Plus, I think.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for it to come out on that. If it is, then I just got to make time for it.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 92. So once again, thank you, Tyler, for joining in, and same thing always applies to co-host Steven over there though. But that's truly gonna do it in terms of this episode though. So if you haven't been watching this live here on YouTube or even after the fact, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related and pop culture stuff that I happen to be talking about, whether it be here on the podcast or just in any one of my standard videos as well. If you haven't been listening to this on my audio side of things, so whether it be Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car, any one of those audio onlys. Make sure to go ahead and leave a review over there if you're able to. 5-star review. Just let us know that we're just a few guys over here that just love talking about gaming related stuff, pop culture, and everything else in between, though. So that's truly going to do it for this episode. So remember, y'all, until my next ZardCast episode, that being episode 93, I'll see y'all later.